Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Refracted Curvature, Neil, Chocolate Saiyan, 10th Man. Did I catch everyone? I think I did. And a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to have you all. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
No, we tried that with their 3959 radius, and it fell all apart there, the black swan. It's beyond its limitation. We don't live on a curved surface. Not where it's supposed to be. That is the horizon.
Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
Negative. Cannot be demonstrated unless you bring a few containers with you.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
I was taught that it was 93 million miles away.
You're going to need an R value for that because that's how they gear everything when it comes to stuff in the violation of the second law of thermodynamics, outer space. So if you don't have R, then all these numbers are useless.
Oh dear.
Hello.
Hey, Alice. Hello.
Arwin.
What's on the menu?
Any
Any
evidence the R
distance to the
value?
sun?
R.
Any evidence the R value? Don't all go at once.
Well, deduction based, but yeah, the actual like radial geometry aspect, no.
The R value.
You need a flat plate for that.
Well, it could be derived based on a presupposition, and that's about it.
What presupposition would get you there?
That the Earth is a sphere.
Or just assume the R value in the first instance. Yes, we're well aware of that particular presupposition. What about any presupposition that might get you to a measurement of it?
No, that's never going to happen.
Yeah, you know why. John, take it away.
It's a flat plane. We measure it that way. You can't measure a sphere at all. Flat planes aren't spheres.
The notion that the sphere Earth is beneath our feet has come from measurements from a flat plane. In the first instance, you have to have measured a flat plane to assert you're on a sphere. As ludicrous and contradictory as that may seem. That's how it's been done. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Wait a second, we're rotating?
No, we
Well-
wouldn't expect to see any deviation.
That's just one of the movements. Oh wait,
What movements
we're
would they
moving?
be? Sorry.
we're moving.
I don't know of any movement. What movement's that?
I don't know.
You don't know.
If you're not moving, you wouldn't expect to see deviation. That's right.
No,
Well,
it's because the Earth is so
somebody
big.
actually did tell us a while ago, came in and told us that the fact that we don't feel any movement, we don't measure any movement, is proof of movement. So that checks out.
Or if you scale it up big enough, the rim velocity doesn't increase, it decreases. It gets less and less noticeable the faster and faster you go. Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. It's physics, man.
Well,
They've even got as far as to misrepresent what Coriolis effect is.
well, absolutely. They claim that Earth turns underneath stuff and we see them drifting. Not actually drifting, they're travelling in a straight line, but because you're turning underneath them, they appear to drift. Well, that means that you look up at an aeroplane and go, wow, look at that, it looks like it's drifting. It's not. It's us on a turning Earth turning beneath it. Well, that would shorten the flight time. Because Earth's turning beneath it, the continent you're travelling to is coming towards it, the plane, that is. Well, that doesn't happen. So it's a nonsense. It's an assertion that Earth turns underneath to give not actual drift, and we don't experience either of those two things. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Can I go back to that for a minute?
What, Coriolis
In
deflection?
celestial navigation, as we read many citations, especially from Darcy Rutherford, who we posted talking about that one argument about Earth going around the sun versus the sun going around the Earth. In celestial navigation, it is assumed that it's the celestial bodies that are moving. In this Coriolis, now you think about this for a minute. Those are two opposite situations there. The Earth is imagined motionless and stationary, and the stars are moving for celestial navigation. But Coriolis would be the opposite. They got a problem.
Yeah, the problem that we don't see anything drifting. If it's claimed that the stars are drifting because Earth's turning underneath them, and it's claimed that footballs drift through goals because Earth's turning underneath them, and snipers have to track their targets because Earth's turning underneath the bullet, then Earth's claimed to be turning underneath stuff, and that would shorten flight times. You'd only have to go up in a hot air balloon and wait for the next continent along to come to you, because Earth's turning underneath the hot air balloon. Yeah, it isn't. It's not turning underneath bullets, it's not turning underneath footballs, and we're not turning underneath the stars. And in terms of how you're utilising them to navigate, you're considering the ground stationary and them moving above certain portions of the land. That's what celestial navigation utilises the stars as. Certainly not you turning underneath them.
So the celestial navigation practice actually destroys Earth turning.
Yeah. But the lack of drift is a better one, because you're claiming there's drift. That's Coriolis effect. Show us drift. Check out my gyro is what the answer you'll get. Check out my pendulum. And you're like, right, okay. But that's a claim of two separate reference frames. So that's still Earth turning underneath stuff.
But that's my point. If the Earth was turning, we would see all those things. And it's not. That's why celestial navigation doesn't fall for it.
Right.
Well, to assert...
You would think...
Go on,
Sorry,
John first. John first. Go ahead.
Well, to assert axial rotation, you need an axis. So you'll have to have an R value, and the only way you can establish that is with a flat plane. So that's got to be a problem.
I was just going to say, you would think that this Coriolis effect would be something pretty simple to see, being that somebody like astrophysicist Neil Smoking deGrasse Tyson can just look at a football game from his couch and do some quick calculations to tell everybody that, oh, this football field goal was scored because the Earth rotated underneath it. You would think that's something we would be able to see. Like, I could just go outside and see this happening everywhere, always. But, maybe he's got a special television or something. I don't know.
No, he calculated it.
Doesn't matter. He's claimed to calculate the thing he observed. He observed the goal because Earth turned beneath the ball, moving the goalposts. Now, from the stands, as described in Coriolis, you see the ball seem to drift. But that's as a result of Earth turning underneath. That's what causes the apparent drift from the stands. So as much as you're about to launch into, oh, he just calculated it, you calculated the observed effect he saw. or claimed it.
Hold on a second,
Yeah,
because
but it had
yesterday
nothing to do with anything, so because
No,
that
'cause
was
he
just
didn't
an
see-
effect from
No,
the ball.
balls just footballs just do curve, actually curve. It's not Earth turning underneath them that makes them seem. You don't launch a football and go, look how straight it is, but for the fact that Earth's turning underneath it. But that's what Neil deGrasse Tyson is actually saying. Look how flat it is. Look how straight the line of the ball is. But it isn't. It's curving through the goalpost, right? Scoring the winning goal. Why? Well, because Earth's turning underneath it. It's 2 reference frames.
Well, then how come I was throwing a ball yesterday with my 2 sons and it was going perfectly straight? What's the problem? The Earth wasn't turning yesterday.
No, it just means that
No, you
you've
hit
thrown the
it with
ball straight.
effect.
Doesn't mean balls can't travel straight. The point is that there is a claim that the only reason it curved through the goal is because Earth turned underneath. That's Coriolis effect. 2 reference frames. Non-inertial, that would be the frame of reference that you're standing on. So in other words, you don't notice that you're turning because you're non-inertial. You're moving with the reference frame. And inertial, the frame of reference that in this instance the ball is travelling through. Well, from the non-inertial turning reference frame, turning beneath the inertial reference frame, the ball, which would be claimed to travel straight in actuality, seems to curve through the goal, only because you and the reference frame you are on are claimed to turn beneath it. That's Coriolis effect. It simply doesn't happen because it would shorten flight times. And as I said earlier, you'd only have to go up in a hot air balloon and the next continent along would come to you, because Earth's turning underneath the hot air balloon, like it's claimed to turn under the football and the bullet and the gyro and the pendulum.
I have an answer for Neil, though, if I may. Right, Neil? Yeah, you kicked that ball, right, Neil? And it went straight. Well, that's because you hit it with an effect that effectively made it curve to basically neutralize the Coriolis deviation. That's why it went in a straight line.
Oh, I didn't kick it. I threw it.
Or through it, whatever. Still with an effect. You unwittingly accommodated for the Coriolis deviation, effectively neutralizing it. That's why it went in a straight line.
Other than that would shorten flight times and you'd only have to go up in a hot air balloon and wait for the next continent to come along. If that was true, Arwin, yes. Other than that minor detail. Okay.
Well,
should we
they
move on?
Can I ask a question?
effectively have a Coriolis neutralizing effect as well.
No,
They're
we
all
don't.
being thrown with
There's
effect.
no neutralization of a not actual drift. Who said they wanted to ask a question? Yes, please save me from this.
So if it's alleged that the atmosphere moves in lockstep with the surface of the Earth, obviously it's the alleged atmosphere as well, wouldn't there necessarily be a point at which the atmosphere would experience some kind of shear effect? Because, basically all the gas around us is rotating, but then the visible stars are alleged to be in a non-rotating frame, right? So that would mean at a certain point as you traveled upward, you would be continuing to conserve angular momentum.
That's a
And then
first
you would
law of
get to a
thermodynamics
certain-
violation, though. So you're
Well,
saying
I know,
you're increasing your energy with respect to the ground?
No, I understand that the increase in linear momentum would necessarily increase with distance if you wanted to conserve angular momentum, and that would violate the first law of thermodynamics.
Correct.
But what I'm saying is, for people who allege that this is possible, would it not be the case that there would be a position where you would suddenly exit one frame and enter another?
No, because the claim isn't in regards to both reference frames being as one, Earth turning with an atmosphere turning with it. That's not the claim. The claim, the actual globe Earth claim, is 2 reference frames, separately, not one reference frame. If Earth and atmosphere were to move together, for example, if you had a turning roundabout with a glass dome over it, and you claimed that on that turning frame of reference, all of the stuff contained within also moved at the same rate. Now, if you are to claim that, that is one reference frame. So where'd you get the drift? The globe's claiming there's Coriolis drift. So if it's all moving together,
Well,
there
yeah.
isn't any drift. So what you're
Well, I
actually
think that-
detailing is an anti-flat Earth rebuttal when we point out there's no drift. They go, we wouldn't expect to see drift, Earth and atmosphere move together. No, that would be the globe Earth believer, claim there is drift. It's called Coriolis effect. We, the flat earthers, point out that there isn't any, and then you tell us you and your reference frames are ruined. They all travel together.
Well, no, I understand all that. What I'm saying is the initial observation, which prompted the idea that there might be any rotation at all, is that the stars appear to move. And so, via, a lot of speculation and unfounded leaps of logic, somehow the whole model was mathematically contorted to make the stars the, static inertial frame. And so I think the glass dome on the roundabout is a really good analogy for the question that I'm asking, because basically what it would mean is you would, as like a ballooner or someone who flies an airplane or whatever, be within the glass dome on the roundabout, not experiencing any type of drift, so have no observed phenomenon. But as soon as you penetrated a certain distance, let's say you cracked your little model airplane through the dome on the roundabout, suddenly you'd be in the inertial reference frame. But that would cause like such an insane vector shift that suddenly your trajectory would, like all of the drift that's supposed to occur based on the fact that you're on the roundabout in the dome, as soon as you traversed from the dome on the roundabout into the inertial frame, like all of that conserved angular momentum would like suddenly cause your trajectory to go insane.
Yes,
at least that's
you're taking it one step beyond the original claim that there should be drift, to a claim that the anti-flat earthers make that there is no drift, to a flat earth claim that if there is no drift because their heliocentric system with a sphere Earth in a vacuum is now contained within a dome and spinning, but you can breach the dome without there being any Coriolis drift, and when you do, there is drift. Yeah, there's just supposed to be drift. The globe claims Coriolis effect. I know that you're taking it beyond the anti-flat earth rhetoric to the point where it's absurd also, but there really is no need. Globe claims drift, we don't have any.
I can't take any more of this.
Go on, Brian. You take it on with the Globiolis. You know where you're talking from in terms of this.
No, I'm ending the whole thing. You can't conserve angular momentum if you're not attached to the object that's rotating. As soon as you leave that object, you're not conserving that momentum. You're only conserving it once you're on and attached to the object physically. There is no. That's why they claim. No, that's a fact. That's why they claim linear momentum, which has nothing to do with a rotating object.
Sorry, that's not what they claim. They being anti-flat earthers claim that.
Well, all of their claims, whether they're anti-flat earthers or globers, all of them are completely wrong.
Yeah, but the original claim is Coriolis drift, not actual deflection caused by you being on a non-inertial turning reference frame, turning beneath an inertial reference frame, seeing an item seem to drift because you're turning beneath it. That's the globe claim. Earth turns beneath stuff like stars, and they seem to drift because you're the one turning. They're not. It's just apparent motion. So when you get into the, well, things wouldn't conserve momentum. Sorry, are the stars dragged along with the turning Earth, not drifting? Because that's what anti-flat earthers are saying. We wouldn't expect to see any drift, so the stars don't move then. Oh, well, they drift. What about a pendulum? Oh, well, it drifts. What about football? Well, that drifts. What about a sniper's bullet? Oh, well, that drifts. What about an aeroplane? Oh, well, that doesn't. We wouldn't expect to see drift. Earth and atmosphere move together. So the football doesn't drift then. Oh, no, that still drifts. It makes no sense. The claim is drift. The globe claim, not ours. Not for you to tell me on the anti-flat earth side that my reference frames I'm claiming when I say drift are ruined, Simon Dan. Yeah, I'm not claiming drift. The globe does, and we don't have any. Any more on Coriolis effect? Brian, I'm talking to you.
Yeah. Conservation of stationary momentum.
Isn't Coriolis effect.
Stationary momentum, nice.
Brian, any more? Any more for any more?
I don't know what else you want me to say.
There's nothing.
There is no.
Just checking.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
The retention of angular momentum bit, just to maybe expand on that a little bit. If they'll claim that, and as you said, that's fine. But what they try to pretend is that it negates the reference frame. So basically, the air stays with it. That's not retention of angular momentum. It has to stay with the rotating object. But even if you did then allow that bastardization of it to allow the plane, the balloon, whatever, to maintain the angular momentum, all that would happen is the balloon would be rotating once every 24 hours on top of whatever else is going off. That's what would be retained. So rotating at the same rate as the supposed rate of their ball Earth. But that would be the only retention. It wouldn't keep it in lockstepedness. That.
Right, they want to say linear, but they can't because linear isn't the motion that it would take if it's retaining the velocity of the atmosphere moving along with Earth, negating the globe Earth claim of drift. So they want to say linear, but they can't. So they say angular, which is absurd because, as Adam's just detailed, if you're talking about retention of angular momentum when you take off in a hot air balloon, it means that you retain the claimed angular momentum of whatever it was you were attached to. Well, if that's Earth turning once every 24 hours... you're just claiming that when the balloon leaves the ground, it's going to turn once a day. Well, that's not very useful. When your claims originally drift and now you're claiming that it retains the velocity of an atmosphere moving along with one reference frame that won't give drift. Yeah, that's not going to fly. But that's what we have to dig our way through, and we can dissect now after 7 years of arguing it. Any more on Coriolis?
Yeah, no,
I just think it's...
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I can't...
I just... Go ahead, Brian.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I just think it's really interesting, right? Because, you know, I haven't talked at length on this subject, but I've thought about it a bunch. And, you know, it seems to me that the boundary between the alleged uncontained gas of Earth and the inertial non-rotating reference frame.
What boundary would that be?
Seem to be in a way.
Hold on. Let's just get. You said the claimed boundary. What would that be? Who's claiming it? I've never heard anybody claim
Well,
this.
they call it the Kármán line. You know, you've heard
it's not a
this term
boundary.
before.
That arbitrary description isn't a boundary in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, conceptually speaking, it seems that simultaneously it's this like impossible non-boundary boundary where stuff can, you know, freely expand to fill the space, but magically doesn't. And at the same time, it's the place where stuff that was previously in a non-inertial spinning reference frame can then just suddenly magically pop into the inertial non-spinning reference frame.
Nobody's describing it that way. Only you. Nobody's describing it that way. That's not what the Kármán line is.
Well, no, but do you get what I'm saying, though?
No, you're taking it... what I addressed it with was, you're taking it from, globe claims will drift because we're turning underneath an inertial reference frame, a la the stars, football, and bullet. Then, the response when we point out that does not happen as flat earthers is an anti-flat earther will tell us that we wouldn't expect to see any drift. That would be the same drift that the globe claims we will see and we've debunked. They say we wouldn't expect it. Why? Because we've shown we don't have it. Why don't we have it? Well, why are we arguing about it? You're supposed to have it. But let's argue about why we haven't got it when the claim is that we will. We will have Coriolis says the globe. We show we haven't as flat earthers. So they say we wouldn't expect to. So further to that, you're going to say, based on the idea that we should have drift that we don't see but we wouldn't expect to see, we'd have an arbitrary Kármán line barrier that if we traversed, we'd increase in angular momentum when we traversed it? No, this is absurd. You're taking it 3 steps beyond the original claim, which is that there should be drift, and there isn't. That's all that matters. Globe claims drift, there isn't any. Anti-flat earthers claim Earth and atmosphere move as one. That's a first law of thermodynamics violation. So I don't care what anything comes after that. It's not important. There's supposed to be drift and there isn't.
I agree with all that.
Doesn't that sound vaguely familiar? That argument of something that we're expected to see that we wouldn't expect to see. What was that again? Oh, the geometric horizon. You wouldn't expect to see the geometric horizon. Is that what they've told us? something else that we're expected to see, that they literally tell us that they measure, but we don't expect to see that. That's very weird, don't you think?
Well, the geometric horizon is Earth curve. So what Chocolate's just detailed is the picture on screen now, a la Simon Dan again, when he decided to jump on the bandwagon of anti-flat Earth rhetoric when it came to the Black Swan, and tell us that we wouldn't expect to see the geometric horizon. Well, the geometric horizon is Earth curve. It's the straight line tangent point that puts up an obstruction between you and things in the distance in those maths. It's the thing that's claimed to block boats and buildings. That's the geometric horizon, aka Earth curve. Now, the claim from Earth as a sphere is that we will have a physical geometric sphere edge obstruction known as Earth curve blocking boats and buildings, and here's the maths for it. Yeah, hidden values. Those are values that tell you how much it's hidden by a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, Earth curve. Well, when we debunk it and point out that it's not in a physical location that it could block things with, they tell us we wouldn't expect to see it. Yeah, you would. It's in your maths. It's called Earth curve. But literally, the anti-flat earthers tell us how we wouldn't expect to see it. So should we, therefore, argue with them about how they should expect to see it? No. We welcome them to flat Earth. We wouldn't expect to see a geometric horizon. What, Earth curve? Yeah, welcome to flat Earth. No, we wouldn't expect to see it. And neither do you, it seems.
It's funny that every time we debunk something, then we wouldn't expect to see something. That's real funny.
That is pretty funny.
I find it hilarious.
Speaking of which, any scientific evidence of gravity?
We'd have to start with a observation of a natural phenomenon, right? Has anybody seen anything like that?
We wouldn't
just
expect to
dropped my
see it.
pen.
We wouldn't expect to.
Maybe
You're going to
Sleep
need
the
a
Warrior.
force for that, Nathan. You're going to need a force.
Force? Gravity's not a force.
I just dropped my pen, Anthony, and it went to the ground.
I just dropped my helium balloon. It went to the sky.
Oh dear.
I just checked my calendar. It's not 1915 and prior.
Well, they found gravitons and ripples of gravity space-time over distance. They detected it. Didn't you know?
Oh, really? What was the natural?
space-time?
And what was the natural phenomena that they observed in that instance, Arwin?
They saw a computer readout on a screen with a wire attached to a device that they made that you can't look inside of.
Computer readout. That sounds natural.
It sounds very natural, doesn't it? I mean, the problem being, Arwin, even if you manage to get to the point where you said, no, the machine's looking at something that's occurring inside another machine, but the thing that's occurring is actually natural, you'd go, oh, well, that's lovely. And now we're going to establish the cause of that effect, right? Through science. The methodology of varying and manipulating that which you assume causes that effect to scientifically validate it as the cause of the effect, aka scientific experimentation. Is that what you're going to do with the phenomena? Or are you just going to bash a few things together in a collider and then say that that's science? And
well, Nathan, it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard to actually go there, because then you first would have to blow up a star to go supernova in order to cause a gravity ripple, and then you vary and manipulate the cause of the gravity ripple, right?
Create a gravity
ripple. But then
ripple.
First it would have to exist out there, and it would take too long to get there. So,
Yeah, that's not my problem. The methodology is pretty straightforward. Observe natural phenomena. Assume a cause of that effect. Vary your assumed cause to see if it causes the effect. That's the method. It's really straightforward.
Natural phenomena, something like a device just gave an anomalous readout, like a pulse of something.
That's not a phenomena. That's not natural.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm trying here, okay? The secondary is quickly look through the telescope. Oh, there's that seems to correlate with coming from that distance. Or I literally don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I know, and that's why I'm going to use this as an opportunity to plug something for the show. So you may not be aware, although I say it at the beginning of every single introduction, this is an open platform. So if you're listening to this live, because we are currently live, unless you're watching this on a replay, but as I say this, we are live, you can join immediately, which is to say that if you can see on screen now where Extremis is, he's joined the live stream queue. and all I have to do, if I actually spot it and I'm actually on the ball paying attention to what's going on in Discord, I can move him into the live stream audience. Now, there is a limited amount of space initially. If the space hasn't been filled, you can immediately join live stream if you're a Discord member. It's very straightforward. And then you can contest anything we say. For example, when I make a statement of fact that there is absolutely no scientific validity for gravity, there isn't even a phenomena to observe, you can come in and tell me how wrong I am. Maybe tell me about how you drop a pencil or something.
Nathan,
Well,
Nathan, you didn't let me finish my hypothesis claim yet.
Independent variable, please.
I was just trying.
Arwen, you just proved that gravity only exists after you have too much ripple.
It was interesting that Arwen invoked a distance. Maybe we need a valid description of this phenomenon we've not observed yet.
Well, maybe there is a phenomenon. It just doesn't really fit into our heliocentrism.
No, well, you failed. Step one.
It's not gravity.
Step one.
I'm just saying it's not gravity.
Maybe there's a phenomena doesn't fulfill step one in the method. Step one, Step one, observe natural phenomena.
Look, I've discontinued attempting to lay down a hypothesis for this. I'm just saying there was allegedly some kind of thing picked up. Don't
care. The question is any scientific evidence of gravity. So upon declaration that I'm not even going to attempt a hypothesis, that's the concession that we need to move on, because we're just asking for science for gravity.
The entire premise, even of the gravity ripple, is nonsense, because just because you say it's a gravity ripple still doesn't make you know what it actually is. Like, it's impossible.
Oh, hold on, he's done it again. I can't believe this. What is? You say what it is. You can't figure out what it is.
The thing that they claim supposedly
it's talking straight through me. It's talking straight through the middle of me. Yeah, first establish what the phenomena actually is before you tell me that you can't describe what it is. Because that weasel word, is your way of massaging in a non-phenomena into this discussion.
I'm on your side here.
No, you're not.
For real. Yes, I am. No, I'm just saying, like, even as they say this, because this was at some point a claim, like a gravity ripple, whatever, it's all nonsense pseudoscience talk. But, like, beside that, even as they're describing the gravity ripple, they're already invoking a presupposition of gravity, which they still do not actually describe what that is. So it's almost like the mystery of gravity is giving us a ripple. That's how we know something about it now.
Okay, so after giving us a hard time, Arwen is now essentially making our point alongside us. Yeah, thank you.
I was always just amazed. Like, people believe in gravity and they describe things about gravity, but they still, within those attempts, don't even know or describe what gravity actually is.
Because there isn't anything. Yeah, there is no phenomena to observe. There is no natural phenomena. There is no gravity. You can't observe anything. When they say you drop something, that's not a natural phenomena, and further to that, gas goes up. It expands in all directions. It has no downward bias. So it's nonsense. It's 107 years out of date, the absurd notion that mass attracts mass. No, it does not. Not only does it not attract mass, that would be mass. Try defining mass for us and see how you get on with that. And then realise that 107 years ago it was replaced with Einsteinian pseudo-Ramonian force-space-time bending. That would be a conceptual medium, and the uneven distribution of mass in said conceptual medium causing the bending of space-time, aka gravity. That's what gravity actually is. Nonsense though that is also.
How was he allowed to get away with that? How was he allowed to get away with that nonsense?
Who? Einstein?
Yes, Einstein.
Well, you can maths anything you like. There's nothing stopping you doing that. Arwen's been trying for the last 6 straight years.
Yeah, and Einstein didn't really get away with it. He was just bought in by the establishment that determined these things. There were a large amount of physics community people that were adamantly opposing everything he was saying, like petitions and shit.
He obviously got away with it because they teach it in school.
Yeah, because he was...
No, they don't. That's wrong. Stop. Stop.
Stop.
That's wrong, Neil. No, they do not teach it in schools. That's wrong.
Well, in the higher education, they teach the bending of space-time, right?
they teach it you when you get to university. If you're going to become a qualified teacher to teach kids about science, in quotes, air quotes, then you will learn that mass attracting mass is not gravity, and that the uneven distribution of mass caused by the bending of space-time caused by the uneven distribution of mass is gravity. You'll learn that, but then you'll go through the education board and they'll put in front of you a syllabus that tells you to teach them that mass attracts mass. 107 years out of date. So no, they don't teach Einsteinian gravity in school. They teach 107 year out of date mass attracting mass. That's Cavendish Reverend John Michel C.V. Boy's gravity.
Well, that's even more to pity.
Yep.
Well, what even is space-time bending?
It's a concept.
Right?
Concept.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
They never tell you what it actually is. It's not translated to anything.
See,
What does pseudo mean? What does pseudo mean, Owen? It tells you in the geometry title. Pseudo-Ramonian force space? I'm pretty sure they do tell you.
No, but that's not what they describe. That's the medium they invoke to do it within. But that still doesn't explain what this space-time bending actually is, even within the concept.
It is within the concept. You've just done that. You've just adequately described it. That's what you've just done.
Oh, that's nice. That still doesn't say what it actually is, though.
A concept.
It's just like,
space-time is there isn't anything. When you say what it is, there isn't any it.
Well,
there's
not even a description even within
that. Oh, God, why am I getting rumpus by Arwin every time we talk to each other? It's a description in maths only. So when you say what it is, how are you going to study something that's conceptually described within mathematics? You can't. There isn't anything to study.
Okay.
Supposedly,
well,
they
what
say
is it
they can see
mathematically?
the bending of light, the depths of space, and that's what implies this sort of thought process.
So the bending of light in outer space, that's a fake place. So they've tried to juxtapose a fake medium with bending space-time.
Yeah, I agree, but this is the rhetoric they push forward.
Wait,
I still don't understand. How?
Hold on. Is gravity just a veiled euphemism for refraction?
No.
Well, just think about it. It's like,
yeah, there's a point
the only explanation you have for things not being what they demonstrably are is that the sort of I hate to use this big old word again, but the epistemological access you have to things such as straight lines, rulers, concepts such as space, concepts such as time, the idea that light travels in straight lines. You say, well, based on those concepts, the Earth appears flat, level is straight, the GP of the star hits the Earth at a 90-degree angle, and so on and so forth. And the only response that these crazy zealots have in response is that stuff is actually bent. And
I'll
so in a
second what
way,
you just said, mate. I'll second what you just said, mate. I agree with you. Refraction is essentially what you're describing. Just say that one line again, that tagline that Nathan said. Now, you're right.
Well, I don't have a tagline. I'm just kind of freestyling here, but basically, gravity is to refraction.
Correct.
That
is literally what it is.
What like basic mathematical conceptions are to the path of light. I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting thought I had, right?
Yeah. Let me paraphrase that.
They mix it up.
Let me paraphrase it so it makes more sense.
Go ahead, Sleeping Warrior.
Let me paraphrase it so it makes a little bit more sense. We're told that in 1919, Eddington validated Einstein's theory of general relativity when there was an eclipse and there were some stars that were in an apparent position, not an actual position, because they appear to have accelerated. That is called gravity. That is what gravity is. Well, let's change it from a star in the distance in the sky to somewhat like a boat or a building on the horizon that now seems to be apparently accelerating because of the effects of refraction. They are conceptually fundamentally the same thing. You're right, I agree with you. It is more akin to refraction than it is to a force.
No, that's incorrect. Fundamentally different things. The pseudo-Ramonian force-space time bending may have bending in it, it doesn't mean that it's in any way derivative of a 7/6 R value, which is the claim of atmospheric refraction. These two things are totally different.
But the effect is the same.
No, you can compare the effect that they detail of gravitational lensing in outer space to be comparable, but that is not gravity.
Yeah.
That is not the uneven distribution of mass caused by, the bending of space-time itself, which is a conceptual medium caused by the uneven distribution of mass. Now, if you're going to describe lensing in that, then yeah, I could compare it. But you're just saying gravity is akin to refraction. No, it isn't.
No, but who's to say that the density of the Earth is not continuously fluctuating from extremely dense to not so dense, extremely dense and not so dense? And that's the effect that we see when we see molten buildings shimmering on the horizon, moving up and down. Who's to say it's got anything to do with either of them, but both of them perfectly explain the observation. And that is what gravitational lensing is. It's the movement of things in the distance that appear to be moving when they're not actually moving.
Yeah,
He's right.
I just told you that. Yeah, but
it is comparable.
You and
to
the other
refraction.
guy were just jerking each other off, telling each other that you were right about comparing or juxtaposing gravity with refraction. No, I'm sorry, but no.
Yes,
not
right.
at all.
He's right.
Can I say something?
He just chanted he's right. I love it. It's not anti-flat earthers that do this, it's people. Just people. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, gravity doesn't exist. There is no such thing as gravity as far as an actual effect. There isn't. That doesn't exist. Refraction does.
Oh,
the end of
God.
that.
I was actually comparing and contrasting with terrestrial refraction, Brian.
Well, real refraction exists. Terrestrial refraction doesn't, and gravity doesn't.
Right. So
that's actually the first
I
thing
picked
I thought.
terrestrial refraction because I saw it as vaguely comparable, which is why I thought they were going, because it's not real also. But it's very distinct in terms of how it's detailed. It's 7/6 of the radius or any derivative value thereof that they decide to massage it with. Well, that's definitely not pseudo-Ramonian.
Yeah, well, I mean, what Eddington saw was real refraction because he saw a real effect. That's real. These other things aren't.
Yeah, okay.
That's a part of the okie doke, right? When these guys, when they assert refraction, they don't ever tell us, oh, it's terrestrial refraction, obviously. They never actually say that. They just say refraction. So to me, it's like, oh, you're saying that because, yeah, refraction is a real thing, but that's not the refraction you're actually talking about.
Correct.
The refraction you're talking about actually needs a radius and curved gas. And we don't have those things, so that's a problem.
When they say refraction, what they really mean is curved. That's literally what they mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was getting at.
I highlighted that too. I said, like, other than them both having bending in them, which I'll give you. I'll just shout out Unitox Femi for the super chat. He says, like, where is the edge of that atmosphere rotation? I think it was in reference to a conversation that we were having earlier on the show. But thank you for the super chat, Unitox Femi. We really appreciate the support. If I missed anybody else's super chat, I'm sorry. I just wasn't paying attention because of Arwin. I blame Arwin.
I'm sorry, Nathan.
That's all right. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Impossible.
Gravity bending light. Black holes.
We cover everything. I think that's it. That's the end of the housekeeping.
Hey.
I
Happy
don't
days.
think we did the molten iron core, did we?
I didn't do 2. I missed 2. Total lie. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
P waves and S waves.
Volcanoes.
Okay. What primary and secondary waves? Tell me all about it.
Who knows
know,
with
I
all
just-
the crap we've been hearing today?
I just heard someone say it and I saw a diagram. It makes sense, so I've just vomited it back just to explain it. So therefore, it's a thing.
It also works in my kitchen.
You're going to need half of that.
Really? John, you used P waves and S waves to size up the content of your table?
No. I used a primary and secondary wave to show that it was spherical. My kitchen. I did it live on the show. You guys heard it.
Must have missed that one.
You missed an opportunity. Dyslow wanted to say something regarding that light bending. Go ahead, Dyslow.
Go ahead.
I said everything I had to say. I was just saying that this is the concept that they try to portray, is that light in space bending due to gravitational fields. This is what they come up with, and he had a good point with refraction, celestial refraction, and it kind of goes hand in hand.
Is this thing working? Did I not say gravitational lensing? Did I not cover that already?
No, you're just a little bit behind, Nathan. Everybody else sees the comparison.
Just me being slow, right? It's not like I'm getting my own points parroted back to me like I didn't say them 25 seconds ago.
Yeah, you might have. I had an incoming call just a little bit ago. Maybe I missed that. But yeah, same page, man.
Okay.
It's all right, Nathan. Don't worry. We're all on our own little journey, and we all don't get things at the same time that everybody else does. It's fine. You'll get there eventually.
Patronise me. How dare you? Jean has a question, or Jean has a question. Camo hat engaged. No more racism towards John. It's not fair. But thank you for the super chat. That said, I put out a video calling him a hillbilly or something. What did I call you, John?
Redneck.
No, I didn't call him a redneck. Something like that. He was King of the Hill parody. King of the Hill.
No, you said he was a propane salesman.
Well, there you go. Well, less of it. It's funny when I do it.
Hey, isn't that Hank?
Hank Hill.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah. Well, there's. Do you mean the person who's on? Let's just do the rest of the housekeeping questions before we descend into non-flat Earth related questions. Any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle from a curved baseline?
This would actually be one of the questions wherein the ontological parameters of the question necessarily preclude a positive answer.
That's correct.
In the sense that
that's correct.
Angles,
well summarized.
Yeah, angles require straight lines.
That's the beautiful thing about asking the question and then hearing how, we need a horizontal plane for that. From the very people that don't believe we live anywhere near a horizontal plane. That's the beautiful part.
But that was so beautifully summarized. Absolutely, you've twigged the essence of the argument. That's right. To ask the question's absurd, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, especially like, are there any four-sided triangles? Any evidence of a four-sided triangle?
Exactly, you got it. Any evidence you can acquire an elevation angle from a curved baseline is absurd as a question. But that's just what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with people who use straight lines, as we've still got Simon Dan on screen. I forgot to press play on my screenshots. That's what they need. They need a straight line to a tangent point if they're going to claim that they're measuring something straight off a sphere. And they haven't even got that anymore. Black Swan. They've now got a bent line to a non-geometric horizon. So they can't do any angle measurement at all, or even infer that they can calculate one. It's game over on every front.
Didn't Zanuck come on the show and confess that it's flat first, and then they make it a globe?
Yeah. About the only useful thing he's ever done here, but yes, that's correct. It has to be flat. Yes, I'm taking an elevation angle measurement from a flat Earth. Don't get hung up on the fact that it's flat and I have to use it that way.
Don't get hung up on the winning point, Nathan.
Yeah, well,
this is where I think of that moment with McToon, where he starts to describe like on a flat Earth like that, and then he like drops the conversation, clicks on the video. That would describe that moment.
You mean the clip
perfectly.
From him and Brian? Is it Brian Leak? Am I saying his name right?
Could be.
Can someone correct me on that guy's name that was debating with Toon? He's a fan of the show. I'm sorry to get your name wrong, Brian. Either way, yeah, that clip was the cognitive dissonance kicking in, him saying it and his mouth working quicker than his brain, and him suddenly realising what he said and going, when I assume a flat Earth, that's even worse.
What was I talking about again?
Flat Earth angle measurements. Oh, yeah. The very point I've had pointed out to me by Nathan 80 times. Right, Toon? Suddenly sinking in now, right? Yeah, you bet it ain't.
81 now.
Talk about a guy scrambling. It was incredible.
Yeah, that's all it is
Yeah.
on that
It was
road for
funny
them from
because
here on forward. What was the
the funny
opportunity?
thing.
Go
I'm
on,
sorry.
Garwin, go on.
The funny thing about that moment is that he was basically trying to go and dig in, lay it out from the flat earth side to point at a problem in it. Then halfway he realized he couldn't find a problem about it. And that's when he crashed, basically. Because he was gonna like, oh yeah, let's do that on the flat earth. In the full expectance, he was gonna be able to point out a problem about it. And then he realized he couldn't as he was doing it.
Oh, the problem was he couldn't do it on a sphere. That's the problem.
Yeah, the problem is he has to use a flat earth. He has to require an angle first. You know, he's currently going around. I've never even looked at Toon's challenge, but I've got a vague idea from the amount of proactive promotion he comes to my comments with. And in one of them, he dropped in alt and the measurement to the star. And you're like, what, an altitude angle? That's an elevation angle. The thing I've parroted at him 81 times. But yet he's got the balls on him to come in my comments and ask people, how do these alt measurements work on a flat plane? Like, the alt measurement you're talking about is an elevation angle measurement could only have come from a flat plane. As I say, he's had that in excess of 80 times. But he's still out there parroting it. He's a fool.
Nathan, hang on. Nathan, go to Master B because I have a slide there that matches it perfectly. Go on, John.
I was just going to say that's the difference between debunking a positive claim and making a positive claim that's true. You know, they're dealing with that now, and it's got to be painful.
Yep. It's the first time in the debate history that that's been the case. Fantastic position to be in on Flat Earth right now. If you haven't been on this particular position or this tip or this vibe up until now, now's the time to rejoice. Because all of the positive claims that come from Flat Earth up until now, up until about 2021 in fact, were positive claims that we despised on this show. Because they were 99 times out of 100 backed up with nothing. Just speculation by flat earthers or regurgitation of controlled opposition narratives that they've been fed from day one, being parroted
Shout
out
out to the egg.
held up in straw men, false dichotomies. Who was that from G+? Go ahead.
Shout out to the egg.
What egg?
He said 99 out of 100 of them come out with baseless assertions with absolutely no evidence whatsoever.
Anthony's egg.
Oh, the experiment, yeah. Backing your claims with scientific validity versus coming out with nonsense on the flat earth side, which we won't go into in any detail. But yeah, they're not backing what they say. They're making positive claims plenty, so they're giving plenty for the opposition to get their teeth into and rip to shreds and humiliate them with. It's like, if you're going to make a positive claim, you better be damn sure that you can back it, because you'll just have your ass handed to you by an anti-flat earther who picks on that specific thing, the positive claim you've made. Well, now we're in a position where our positive claim is in regards to celestial navigation. And it's not an agree-disagree situation. It's a fact that it requires a flat plane to do it. Now, if they try and utilise that methodology, they are going to be measuring an elevation angle, the same one that Toon's asking about, how they work on a flat plane. Yeah, he measured them on a flat plane. That's how he got that alt that he's leaving in my comments. That's an elevation angle, altitude angle to the stars he's got in his challenge. Required a flat plane. That's awkward. They don't want to have to deal with that. They're so used to dealing with ice walls and ether and other horse shit that people have been fed when they got to flat Earth.
Incoherent dielectric acceleration.
You got it.
Well, if you change the word elevation to altitude, maybe it'll stick.
No, in the 80 renditions of the same exact rebuttal being put to him, I put all 10 of the citations detailing very specifically how altitude angle is elevation angle. It's not like two, unless he didn't read.
Well, the real crazy ramification of all that too is that it extends, pun intended, beyond the conception of celestial navigation to the real, a lot of times globers say, oh, you flat earthers are not interested in the nuts and bolts of technological progress or whatever. But the argument that has been presented on the show, viz. The sextant, also shows that measuring the height of any object requires a flat plane.
That's correct. Yeah, someone left a comment yesterday asking me about the angular size of something. No, it wasn't in my comments. I totally lie. It was in Brian's comments. So I just addressed them all when they're asking him about angular sizes, ignoring the fact that they don't have them in their curve maths. I'm like, well, you'll need a flat Earth to measure that.
Yeah, I've had several of the globe sides trying to lecture me because they didn't understand what my last night's video was about. Trying to lecture me about angular sizes and how angular size change works, and how orthographic and perspective works, and how perspective works. And one of them was your man Farmer's Boy. No, that guy. It's like, where is perspective in your model? Where is perspective? As far as, like, in their world, perspective doesn't exist. So they can't ever talk about perspective because it can't exist in their world. Can't.
And now we know why. They've taken angular measurements that came from a flat plane. That's a baseline and an altitude to a star, for example. You're listening, Toon? Like in your challenge. Yeah, they're taken off a flat plane. And then they claim that the arc of the measuring tool itself is the ground you're standing on.
Yeah.
Virus answered to any evidence of R. Virus answers stars.
That's a brilliant answer.
That's an excellent answer. So concise and detailed.
There is an R in stars.
That's right. I don't think that R is a radius value, though.
It's not ironic that Kumu says that after Nathan just saying what he just said about the arc scale.
Wait, I finally figured out the evidence of R. You guys ready?
Oh, yeah,
so there was a pirate who hijacked perspective and called that hijacking the Earth curve calculator, and because he was a pirate, he said "Arr."
Now Virus says do the math. Are you kidding me?
Do the math.
Virus, you've been destroyed 1,000,000 times over.
He didn't give us any math. He just said stars. What maths was there to do when he just said stars? There wasn't any. Just throwing out baseless assertions with no evidence. It's not.
I think he's talking about.
Oh, sorry.
I think he's talking about angular maths to do with angles that would be flat Earth.
You're going to need a flat Earth if he's talking about any sort of angle.
This is the same Virus who posts, you guys just don't understand basic geometry, and he screws up a 90-degree right angle. This is that guy. Remember that.
Shout out to Godzilla37. He says, show number what? Like 1600 or so? Well, good news. Today's the day. Virus finally proves the globe. He did it in chat. We can go home now, because Coriolis and stars. Thank you, God, for parrots. Really appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much indeed for your support. And with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, hit the PayPal link, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on a Premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video. The Virus in the chat, as the live show is ending, says, I never proved anything here. Full stop. I try hard not to. Never a true word spoken. 167 live viewers. Thank you very much indeed for tuning in live. Stay tuned to watch the after show.
It is over. And I couldn't agree more.
Well, if you think about it, there never was a debate. They used a flat plane to begin with to derive a globe.
Yeah,
so.
that's true too.
Yep.
The debate might now be over, but it's when the education now starts.
Started here. Started when the debate started, as far as I'm concerned. Before the debate started, we were in the same boat as every other Muppet out there, arguing with controlled op narratives and ice walls and all that kind of nonsense. We were no better or worse than them. At the start of the debate, admittedly, we were buying into the rhetoric and using the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator to essentially assist them in their begging the question fallacy. So we were losing from the outset. But you got to start somewhere to realise why you're losing. And that was the beginning of that journey. As far as I'm concerned, the education started at the beginning of the debate process. Before that, it was just padding, fluff.
Agreed.
No, that's not true either, because there was Quantum Eraser's channel, or technically speaking, it was Cathexis's channel at the time. But because of that, that was where it started. The moment QE stepped into the arena. My interest in actual arguments that won came from QE and Cathexis talking. And a little bit of Robert Pisano.
Yeah, I have to say I was interested in straight away. I didn't understand it straight away, but I was interested.
No, same here. Half the time I didn't get it and was paying far more attention to the chat than I should have been. Same with everybody who watches this show half the time, probably.
I only know this show with QE. I don't remember hearing it without QE. I came late to the party.
Well, it took some convincing to get QE to even start up a channel. Before that, he would go on Cathexis, he'd go on debates, he'd do the circuit. You know, and at that time, so was I. I was out on other people's channels doing debates, getting muted. All the stuff that people moan at me about was what I was out there getting happened to me. And it's one of the reasons I started the debate show. I wanted my own. I'm like, we don't get a fair crack out there on the neutral platforms, as they're now called. Well, that's why the debate exists. Because how unneutral the platforms that were out there were. So I was like, sod this, I can do it myself. I will. And what do you get from the anti-flat earthers when you do so? You shouldn't be on your own platform in the minority with everything stacked against you. You should be out on our platform. Away turf, with us, with every advantage that there is available. It's not fair that you in the minority has any advantage. How dare you?
Well, I would
Leave the echo chamber.
I would like to extend to them an option for debate, and I'll give them the parameters in their favor. They can choose the platform. They can choose the moderator. They can choose the models we will defend, and I will even let them choose mine. And I'll limit my responses to one of two sentences. Either you'll need a flat plane for that, or that doesn't work in the celestial sphere model.
Beautiful.
So,
and you'll be right.
Anyone from either side of the argument want to do a little trial run with John? Devil's advocate styley, if there's no globies here. Or, if you're feeling brave and you are still believing that it's a globe, feel free to present any argument, model-based or otherwise, to John and see if he can get away with only using those two statements to defeat everything you state. Come on, how hard can it be? He's basically got both arms tied behind his back.
Exactly. He's only got two answers.
Two answers and whatever they offer him as the tools to argue with. Couldn't really offer him any more at this stage.
and like I said, you know, you can choose the models and you can even choose mine. So I don't know what else I can give you.
Or to paraphrase what John's suggesting, even if you give us the model you dictate we should argue with, even if you are on your own home turf, and even if you have got your chosen moderator and your chosen model being argued by John, you would still lose and find yourself having to defend the flat plane utilization that got you to your model and his.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there isn't a tide of ballers wanting to debate John with those parameters.
Earth Day's coming up on the 22nd. I think we should have a flat Earth Day.
Maybe.
You mean like every day?
I was just going to say that. Isn't it every day?
I asked Ken Hovind. I put this on pretty much every video you've put out, Nathan, and nobody's taken me up on it.
Telling.
I don't know about that. If I'm going to accuse Toon of an argument from silence fallacy because no one's taken him up on his challenge, you can't really go about the same exact tactic without at least getting some criticism from me. No, lack of publicity.
Yeah, it
Come
could
on.
be that.
Got to poke the bear, as Anthony Riley once said. But you're doing that. You're poking the bear.
Well, I've been poking Kent Hovind. He's not answered me yet. I've invited him on this show.
Well, he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. I know in the past when I've very rarely heard Kent Hovind chopped up in some one that I am subscribed to's video, I've heard him say that pretty much the same as John, actually. Maybe that's where John's got it from. Refracted curvature, that is. He said, I don't care where I'll debate anywhere you like, blah, 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 blah. He does give a couple of stipulations.
He taught geometry for 5 years.
Well, that's why I put the.
Sorry, John.
I was just going to say that's why I put that stipulation in about the models, because there seems to be a model affliction and confusing that with reality in this topic. So that's why the model stipulations in it, because it plays into their own delusions about reality.
Yeah, because when we're talking about Earth, they seem to think we're talking about a model. We're actually just talking about Earth.
Well, what puzzles me with Kent Hovind is he's a Bible believer, but nowhere in the Bible does it talk about a sphere Earth.
He's actually the guy I designed this challenge for. I've posted it on his all of his YouTube videos he's put out recently on his community page. I went to his website and I've posted it several times. So
you got to go to his comments, John. After the video, you got to attack his comments. He reads those. Oh, okay.
I did. I'm still doing it.
Yeah, me too.
Well, if he does, he's suggested personally that he'll debate anybody at any time, right? That's Kent Hovind's attitude. And he's put out stipulations to debate flat earthers, right? I'll debate any flat earther, my model versus their model. That's what he's put out there. You've responded to him. I don't really see the issue, other than he's unaware. He's probably a very busy man. But, I'm sure a few people now will make him aware, more aware if he is already, or aware if he wasn't.
He's ignoring it, Nathan, because he answered somebody's comment right above mine. So you can't tell me he did not see my comment. All right?
Yeah, I can. Easily, as a YouTuber. Very easily, in fact. Doesn't necessarily mean that because it appears above your comment in a video that that's how it presents itself to him in YouTube studio comments, as I do them every single morning when I wake up. That's the first thing I do. Go through a handful of them, however much I can allocate time to that particular task. And then I move on with other things. But that doesn't necessarily mean I'll A, respond to, B, see every comment that there is. There's just too many. I would imagine Kent Hovind gets a lot more comments than I do. So if I'm overwhelmed, so will he be.
Okay.
Like I say, it's just, if he's put it out there, he proactively wants this to occur within the stipulations he's laid down. John has fulfilled those. So it's just a question of time. Not, he's scared. I know that. He's just a busy guy. I'm sure he'll come to that when he's good and ready, now that somebody's fulfilled his request, which is him proactively requesting it, and John's fulfilling his proactive request. So, yeah, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't want to.
Well, if it comes,
I see a very good reason. Sorry, John. I'm sorry. I know this is about you, but step in here. There's a very good reason why he wouldn't want to. Because he knows he's going to lose.
Exactly.
Hands down. And that's the problem. John is he put in that stipulation of the model thing, thinking no one will come forward because no flat earther claims a model. And that's why he has that in there. But now there's someone coming forward with a model, and he knows he's going to lose in front of all his parishioners or whatever.
Let me get it straight. You're under the apprehension that Kent Hovind not only watches the show, has kept up with the arguments and understands implicitly why the argument that's not yet been presented to him personally will win, therefore he's scared of it and therefore is not going to come. That's what you think?
Yes,
No,
because
that's
he's a geometry teacher.
No, that's a straw man. No. It's that he put in a stipulation that to debate him, a flat earther has to bring a model. Right? So he knows flat earthers don't claim models and don't like models. He knows this. Like that's a known thing.
How do you know that?
So how do
you know he knows that?
Because because he's not stupid. He's not some bonehead from that has never researched anything. You know what I mean? He does do research.
Yeah, you're assuming that he's watched the show and understands the argument and knows he'll lose. I don't think that's the case.
But it doesn't have to be this show.
No one else is. Nah. You're telling me any other show would ever lead him to the apprehension that if he argues any model, it's going to have it pointed out to him that that's actually a flat Earth model and here's how it was derived so? Or, in the case of John's two rebuttals, you're going to need a flat plane for that, or that violates the celestial sphere model. I don't think so.
Well, why did he put in the stipulation then of us needing a model? Why that specific?
Because he's not stupid. He's recognised that the way to win the argument is to set it up within the parameters that are laid out by the controlled opposition narrative of false dichotomy, which is to say, have their model versus your model, and yours will always prevail.
No, it's because he has a little model that he can't defend, and he needs us to come up with a little model so he can strawman the hell out of it. Yeah. That's what that's going on, because he knows that he can't defend his model. He's going to lose.
I don't think so.
He knows this.
I don't think he knows. I think he thinks he'll win because up until 2021, that was the standard fair rhetoric, false dichotomy narrative set up, and you hope your opponent isn't like us and will launch into their reification of whatever flat Earth model they hold dear, so that you can attack it. And that's how it works. So he knows that. Doesn't mean that he's in any way aware of how we will overcome that argument and therefore scared of it because he knows his model will fail because it's based on a flat Earth. I just don't think so. Maybe he's a fan.
Well,
hey, Ken, shout out to you if you're watching.
If he was not worried about the debate, that stipulation wouldn't be in there. He wouldn't need that stipulation. The point I'm making is he knows that what he's trying to defend is not defendable. So that means he's living a lie, and he's supposed to be honest.
Hold on. No, the celestial sphere model is a very, very useful model.
He's not defending. Yeah, but he's trying to defend a different model.
No, he isn't. He just doesn't know that yet.
No, he's not.
Yeah, I know that. But the point I'm making, he doesn't know that.
So how can he be scared and know his model's going to fail then?
Because it can't be supported.
Okay, let's just agree to disagree.
Oh, it's sort of like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Never debate a flat earther.
Yeah, but Kent's proactively encouraging that debate, though, isn't he? He just hasn't seen the messages or hasn't got the email. That's all this is. You jump into
just saying it.
Yeah, I don't want to divine his motivations. I'm just saying that I'm open for that debate. I'll limit my responses to one of two sentences, unless I'm asked to, extrapolate because they don't understand. That'd be the only time I'll add to it. But I don't see that I'll ever need to go outside those parameters.
I agree. But the parameters that their models are based on, no, I don't think you'll need to go outside of those either.
So let me ask you a question. How do you think Kent Hovind would answer the question to can you have gas pressure without a container?
is arguing within the confines of two models. So if that model assertion was his heliocentric model, then you'd immediately have the response that you're going to need a flat plane to get there, and it violates the celestial sphere model. So I don't think you'd actually get an opportunity to get to the gas pressure without a container argument based on the structure that's being offered up by John, our John, refracted curvature John.
Yeah, that's outside the model. I mean, it's the medium. Their model is well, they don't have a model. I don't even know how to answer that anymore. That's just like Narnia, I guess.
Yeah, but to assert that you've got atmosphere and then a vacuum beyond it is the assertion of a model, that's the heliocentric model, that was derived from a flat plane in the first instance. Ergo, the response to any question or phraseology that leads you to a debate about the sky vacuum and its fakeness could easily be responded with, you're going to need a flat plane for that. That nonsense idea of space, well, that's come from a heliocentric assertion with a sphere Earth ground beneath our feet that was derived from a flat plane angle measurement in the first place. So your nonsense sky vacuum started with a flat plane derivation to give you a sphere to have this crazy notion of a second law of thermodynamics violation. There you go, there's your answer, Neil.
Boy, how things have changed.
It's getting simpler, easier. I feel totally different when I respond to the trolls these days. My frustration has dissolved entirely, and I can sense the frustration from them. When they offered up the straw men fallacies that they were so used to debating with other flat earthers in my comments, it used to really wind me up. Now, although John summarised it beautifully, what I am responding to them with is pretty much two comments. You're going to need a flat plane for that. Or you're going to violate the celestial sphere model for that. Essentially the same thing. But that's what all of these arguments now boil down to. Lovely. Because I just laugh at them now. Gets me through my comments a lot quicker in the morning. I'm getting coffee a lot sooner. But you can sense it. The frustration they used to detect in us back when the debate started, right? Our annoyance and frustration at their tactics and their begging the question fallacies that we were arguing within, that used to amuse them greatly. It didn't matter how well we got around their begging the question fallacy, so long as there was enough dilution surrounding the argument, they'd won automatically. Didn't matter. And they didn't necessarily knew it at a conscious front of their mind kind of level, but they knew that they were in a position to not care and just laugh at us regardless of what we did. The tables have completely turned. Now I'm asking Roofy and Katz and Toon, dozens and dozens and dozens of times about the argument in regards to elevation angle. What are they going to do? Are they going to come back at me with, no, we can get an elevation angle from a curved baseline, as per the housekeeping question? No, they're not. What they will do is post up cartoons to Adam, in the case of Roofy at the moment, that utilise a geometric tangent point Earth curve horizon debunked in 2020. Hey, Roofy, how's that geometric horizon working out for you there, buddy? Where you been for the last 2 years? It's not no Atmo day. Yeah? So they're covered, absolutely covered from all angles. There is no escape for an anti-flat earther at the moment, and I feel their pain. Not feel it from an empathetic point of view. I mean, I feel it oozing out of their comments. It's beautiful.
And to assert a tangent point to a physical geometric horizon is contradictory to the celestial sphere model.
There it is.
If Ruhif ever gets you on a neutral platform, Nathan, you're in serious trouble.
Why?
I'd just be sarcastic.
Yeah, I realise. I mean, what they typically do is say, when it gets to that stage, well, why don't you come in and tell me how wrong I am then? Well, so you can mute me? No. So you can tell me how wrong I am and I can absolutely annihilate you by telling you that you'll need a flat plane to measure the angle you're arguing about, or point out that that's a violation of the celestial sphere model. You know, those two statements would be the annihilation of almost any argument that comes here from this point forward. Roofy knows it, so what's he going to do? Blame the mute button? Yeah, I like doing that in chat. When there's no mute button, there's just a back and forth comment-based discussion, debate. And I ask them where they are and they've disappeared and they're not answering my question. I've asked them, well, in the case of Toon, 80 times. Where they gone? Are you muted? No, just an excuse you can't use here anymore. Yeah,
it's sort of like when Katz talked about, I'll give you a flat plane, right? That was sort of almost the tipping point of it, you know, because I don't think at that time anybody realized that the flat plane was required.
Yeah, they did. QE pointed it out to me at least 6 times, and I still didn't get it.
Well, I mean, QE did, but he's kind of the tip of the spear, so everybody else is balancing on his understanding pretty much. But like, I think 10th was pointing it out daily, but I don't think. I think that just illustrates the difference.
Nobody else realized. You're right.
I'll give you the flat plane. That didn't happen to come from the same guy that said without the balloon there could be no pressure.
Yeah.
That couldn't be the same guy, right?
Right, without the container there can be no pressure, end quote, conspiracy cats. That was after 100 renditions, in fact more than 100 renditions of that argument. So conspiracy cats is no different to anybody else. They just stick their head in the sand when there's an argument they can't overcome, and they'll parrot out their exact same claim over 100 times and ignore their own words put back to them.
Could you say, as a positive claim to that, to press upon something, you need something to press upon?
That's a paraphrasing of Cat's claim, but yes.
Okay, well, that could be a positive claim, I guess. I never really thought of it that way.
It's not a positive claim, it's an antecedent-consequent relationship.
To press upon something, you need something to press upon?
Yes.
Wouldn't be a positive claim?
No, it's an antecedent-consequent relationship. It's more like, well, duh. You can't be pressing if you haven't got something to press upon. Well, without the container, there can be no pressure.
Yeah, they still won't get it, though.
Oh, they get it all right. They just vanish up their own arse when they finally realise it. I mean, I'm in Toon. Where's Toon?
Yeah.
You know, after that video got put out of him describing how, well, you know, you measure your flat Earth angle and, you know, once that video came out, is he still in my comments promoting his failed challenge? No. He had one taker, and I got a clip of him describing how it works on a flat Earth from it. Well done, Toon. I notice you're not parroting off how your challenge hasn't been fulfilled anymore in my comments. Is it just the 80 renditions? Yeah, just 80. And then you saying it on your own damn show for you to realise it.
Well, that means that he... Hold on a second. That means he's consciously realized the problem and he owes you $10,000.
Well, he owes Brian $10,000. Brian stepped up to the plate.
Good luck collecting that.
Yeah, he's not going to collect Jack. I said that from day one. The fact that he realises that his plane-based challenge invalidates the challenge itself, yet now he's realised that. Do you think he's going to admit it and give someone 10 grand? Of course not. Do you think when I said it the first time, it didn't mean I had to repeat it 79 more times to him? Of course not. These people are delusional. They're one step closer to the nut house after they realise it. Doesn't mean you're going to get 10 grand out of them. That's why I didn't even entertain it or even look at it. I don't even really fully understand what his challenge is. I just understand that when he comes to my comments and asks me how an alt measurement works on a flat Earth, I'm like, that only works on a flat Earth. It's an elevation angle you're asking about. Yeah, 80 times. With citations.
What may have helped the situation was that now I don't know who else joined in on this, but I was doing it. I was saying, why don't you go and prove your globe with your own challenge and get the 3 Bitcoins? And that's when he stopped commenting into my chats, or into my videos about this challenge. And his own followers, don't see anything about the challenge anymore. So I don't know, because I said it to every one of them that came at me. That's exactly what I put to him, and I put it to tune himself. Prove your own globe with your own challenge and get 3 Bitcoin. Silence.
Exactly. I didn't understand why they weren't attacking that. Oh, I do understand. Because they can't.
No, step 1 of the challenge is utilization of a flat Earth elevation angle measurement. Part of the challenge uses a flat Earth. And every model that he claims in his stipulations aren't usable because they're globe were all derived from a flat plane also. It's a complete waste of time getting involved with anti-flat earthers when they offer up money. Because all they'll do is deny anything you ever put in front of them. Regardless of how well cited it is. Regardless of how farcical it is to ask you how a flat Earth angle works on a flat Earth. That's what he's asking.
Maybe they should just keep their money and buy themselves a clue.
But like, say it was in court, right? And you showed that video of him describing the problem that he's in. That could make him a liar from this point out, right?
Yes. But what does that change? They're all like that.
They're not liars. They're not liars.
From the point that he recognises and verbalises the problem he faces, from that point forward, you don't say it's lying.
No, he's too stupid to realize it.
Hamlin's razor.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Now, you can say that he's too stupid to realize it, but if he verbalizes, right, but if he's able to verbalize the problem, can you use stupidity as a defense at that point?
Well, I'm not using it as his defense. I'm just telling you that he's too stupid to realize it.
No, you're missing the nuance of what John's asking you. If he literally details that which you say he's too stupid to understand, at the point that he verbalizes it, would that not be an understanding recognition by verbalization?
No, because he's using words that he doesn't know their meanings.
So you're saying even though he's verbalized it, he still doesn't understand it?
Yep, exactly.
Exactly? I couldn't disagree with something more.
I'm telling you, you don't know. You don't know the depths of the retardation. I can't believe you don't realize this.
Nathan gives them too much credit,
I do.
Kiwi.
On that video where he disclaims the problem, verbalizes it and stutters around it, right? He was in the comments doing the same thing. So, I mean, it's not like I can deny it. His actions speak to that. But can you understand my exasperation in this regard, QE? You're literally telling us that someone can stand in front of you and detail something to you, and then after they've detailed it, somebody off to the side, you, QE, says, yeah, he didn't understand a word he just said, though. Yeah, he verbalised it to you to the point where you could understand it. That doesn't mean he understands it, though. That's what you're saying.
Yes, exactly. You got it. Yep.
Hang on. What Kiwi is saying
by memory doesn't mean you understand it.
What Kiwi is saying is definitions of words. So when he says, when these anti-flat earthers use the word line or straight, and to them it means curved, then you're speaking a different language, and they're confident that it's not the same thing we get. So we're saying, wait a minute, that line is straight. No, to these guys, because definitions aren't important, it means curved. So they're within the spell.
I understand. So you're saying
with QE,
from a Socratic point of view, they actually don't literally understand what they say, even though they can say it. Their meanings are different. You wouldn't agree with them if you tried to define terms with them on a Socratic level after they made the statement.
You do this with students, Nathan, yeah? So when you're testing their knowledge, yeah, they might be able to regurgitate the passage, phrase in relation. But then you'll take it another step further and test their understanding. And I think that's what John's saying. They might have the ability to regurgitate the text and say it, but actually, is there any understanding of the implications of what they said? Probably not. They're just able to regurgitate it.
Okay.
Hold on.
Hold on. There's a term for this. There's a term. So the lights are on, but nobody's home.
Yeah.
Right, because it sounds like you're saying that they've learned to speak this phonetically, like that there's no comprehension behind it.
Yes.
Well, it's
Right.
memorization. It's how you learn something in school that you don't understand just to pass the test, right? Some people can do that.
You can test that. Just ask them to paraphrase their understanding back to you. You can test that.
Yeah, but they got other stuff ready
that's
to
what, that's
put
what
in
I've
its
been doing
place.
for the past 7 years.
But they got
Okay, so
many
that's how you test.
distractions.
You've already tested. Well, what did you find out from the tests that you've been doing?
That they're all retarded. Every single booger eating McBooger eater, he's one of the high echelon fuckwits that doesn't even understand the words coming out of his mouth. Did you hear the numpty clip with him?
Yes, I did.
There you go.
Well, I just want to.
So
I don't think they're most of them are
I'll
liars.
just state one. You ready? I'll just state this one. You ready, John? Gases are solid enough.
That's a quote. That's a two quote.
That's hilarious.
Wait. Somebody said that?
Yeah, two.
Yeah, Nathan gives him too much credit.
Yeah, I guess I see your point. Like, I just the idea that someone can state the problem, see the like have trouble articulating it because at some level they have to have be able to see the problem to stumble around the problem. It is the only reason I bring it up. Like, why are you stumbling around it if you don't understand it at some level? But I see your point.
Because you don't understand the depths of the retardation here, because you have this generalized look out on humanity and you give them a certain level of intelligence, right? We all do that because you're thinking, well, he's a human just like me. He understands, the simple concepts. No, that's your biggest fucking mistake with these ballers, because they are so far below just the baseline, basic reasoning skills of a human. I'm telling you. How many examples? Should we just play all my numpty clips?
I have the best example.
Being dishonest.
What?
I don't think it has to do with their lack of intelligence. I think they're being dishonest.
That's where we started, Dyslow.
No.
But that's
Can I just give the best example?
If Dyslow hasn't caught up with this, then that means there's going to be someone in the audience who hasn't. So this started with John saying they're just dishonest. At the point that he recognises the problem to the point where he can stumble and verbal his way through it, that means he understands it. He wouldn't be saying it if he didn't. He couldn't verbalise it unless he did. That's John's argument. Refracted curvature's argument. Quantum Eraser's response is, no, they're just fucking retards.
Exactly.
Well,
how many?
I wasn't taking into account.
How many examples do you want me to? How many examples do you want? Have you guys been paying attention for the past 7 years?
Can I give the best example yet, please?
John, the best example. Gases are solid enough.
Yeah.
Didn't do it for you.
no, I didn't.
Obviously, they're not keeping up with the numpty clips.
No, not
real quick, Huey, who said
Can
that?
everyone stop rumpusing Brian? Go ahead, Brian.
Thank you, Nathan. John, not quantum eraser, John, but refracted curvature, John. Remember in January 2020 when you heard a certain argument and you went, oh no. Well, you know the way the rest of them didn't do that. Well, why is that?
Well, I didn't take into account that they may have learned their responses phonetically. So they're basically like tape recorders or parrots. And so they don't have any understanding of the words they're using. So in the original argument that I stated, I didn't take that into account.
So based on that, how would that be any different for Toon?
Well, that's always been my point.
And on its surface, it sounds like a huge stereotype fallacy. And I can understand that with people. It would piss me off because it really frustrates me when people say they and encapsulate everyone. But this is a special case that I've experienced in 7 years. There isn't a single baller above the depths of the retard level. I have tested every one of them that I've run into. I haven't run into a single one where they weren't baseline full retard.
I bet you could parrot off some of their quotes. So we'll just for a warm up, we'll start with the one that we've had already. So McToon quote.
Oh, you want me to say it?
Yeah, gases are solid enough. End quote.
There you go.
Right. Gem Panda.
Do you want me to say? What? I don't have the list in front of me.
But I bet you could do it from memory.
Gem Panda. Oh God, that's a catalog.
I never asked the question.
What do you mean I was begging the question? Hold on.
Yeah,
what do you
Neil
mean?
got there first. Sorry, hold on, Kiwi. Go on, Neil.
How could I be begging the question when I haven't even asked the question?
That's what I was going to do.
Perfect. About conspiracy cats.
Without the container.
Shit. The second law of thermodynamics only applies to energy, not matter.
At the best, you only debunk radius.
Go on, let's have some more anti-flat earthers. I bet Kiwi can do this all day because he's made videos on it. It cements it in your memory. These quotes will be cemented in his memory. So just rattle off an anti-flat earther, and he'll give you a numpty quote.
Rumpus, air is not the atmosphere.
You don't ask him and give the quote. You don't understand the rules, Neil. God.
I couldn't help myself.
Okay. What about Wolfie, 60-20?
Oh, shit. That's too long ago, man.
But you,
I'm
Brian,
getting old.
You get pretty intimate with Wolfie 60-20 sometimes.
Are we playing Guess the Numpty quote?
Yeah, Numpty quotes.
That's great.
What about Zanuck?
Yeah, Zanuck. That's a good one. We are on Wolfie, and Brian was gonna. If you've got a quote to hand, Brian. If not, we'll move on.
Well, I can't remember verbatim. I don't really have a quote to hand, to be honest with you, because he sticks to the subject he knows and the subject he can argue. He doesn't argue about anything else. So he doesn't start talking about other things he doesn't know about. But the one he did do was when he got that orange and he cut it in half or something. Remember? And he was trying to show how a radius line goes through for a circle of equal altitude, can just go through the circle. And it's through a sphere, and it'll still be a circle of equal altitude on the sphere. But I can't remember what he said about it.
Well, the problem with
I
that,
got one for Zanuck.
Hang on. The problem with that is he'd have to be consistent, and when he cuts that thing in half, he'd have to say the guy with the sextants in the middle of the Earth doing the observation. But he won't do that.
No, he was talking about the radius, the length of the radius of the circle. He was forgetting that you can't put the radius and diameter of the circle through a sphere. You can't do that because the distance will be different on that straight chord line than it will be in the arc that resides on the arc that resides above it.
It's actually on screen now, just by pure coincidence. So, although it's for a different purpose, you've got bulge. Here it says bulge, or what Wolfie was doing was drawing a chord line through the bulge to give him a circle of equal elevation, and then describe the radius. And Brian's tete-a-tete with him was to say, no, if you're taking this line, where's my mouse pointer, along here, and giving that, which is the only way you'd get an R value for that circle of equal altitude, if you've got a straight line. But it doesn't match with the ground above because you've got a different longer distance if the curved bow of the Earth above the chord line he's using for an R value is actually applicable. So it doesn't match, it doesn't work. That was Brian's point.
No, I know, but that's the whole point. John is saying what he's saying, and I'm saying what I'm saying. They don't measure it from the surface.
No.
What he did say was he doesn't refer to horizontal when he's flying his aircraft, but the zero on the attitude indicator is horizontal. So to say you don't refer to horizontal means you're not even looking at the attitude indicator.
Now that's stupid.
So
that violates.
That was where he.
Yeah. I think John was about to get there before I was. Go ahead, John.
No, go ahead. I want to make a separate point, but
well, I was going to say that violates the celestial sphere model.
Now, what I was going to say was back to what QE and everybody was talking about. I had to drop for a second. So what I can understand from the conversation is that Nathan owes Charles Flat Earth Math an apology. He's not a liar. He's a retard.
Yes. Charles Flat Earth Math. Now, if you get in deeper, there's this thing called a double blind or a blind experiment where the chemist doesn't even know what the substances he's mixing together.
And nobody ever died ever doing this. Honest.
That was a bloody.
Wait, that wasn't that Slice Arcane?
No, that was Charles.
No, he parroted Charles Flat Earth Math, but Charles Flat Earth Math. I'm sorry, Slice Arcane said it first. Charles Flat Earth Math parroted.
Okay, see, I was wrong.
You were close.
You got any numpty? That was Slice of Arcane then, yeah. So that would be a Slice of Arcane quote.
I got one from Zanuck.
Yeah, let's have a Zanuck
Planes can fly.
Please.
Planes can fly motionless if they fly at 1,000 miles an hour eastward at the equator.
Okay.
I got another one for Zanuck.
No way did he say that.
The second law of thermodynamics is not the law of entropy.
Yeah, a lot of them do that.
The latest one from Zanuck.
Just to deal with. Go on.
No, I was going to say the latest one from Zanuck is obviously on the topic at hand. He says, yeah, we first measure it flat.
So just to deal with Neil's disbelief in terms of Zanuck's declaration that essentially a plane can be held static if it's flying 1,000 miles an hour. Well, that's a testament to QE's mastery in his way of debating the Coriolis deflection. So QE takes great pride. I've seen him do this at least a dozen times with various different fundies, not just Zanuck. He leads them like I lead them. He's just leading them in the way that amuses him, right, QE? You want him to have that plane static in the air or going backwards.
Yes, exactly.
I was just going to say going backwards is even better than motionless.
I was going to say,
that I've heard a few times.
That's where he's trying to lead them. He's trying to lead them to tell you that the plane goes backwards. And if he does it right, they'll actually say that. Yes, they will actually say it.
Yeah.
I heard I can't remember who said this to QE, but he said, if I concede that God made life, then I can argue evolution. Yeah, he wanted to concede that God created life, right? There was intelligent design, and then he wanted to argue evolution after he conceded.
Who was that?
So I can't remember what that guy's name was, but it was about the time that I switched positions because I heard it and I was like, you can't argue that. You can't argue that evolution and intelligent design. That's I can't remember. I'll dig back through and see if I can find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll concede one of the ontological primitives and then argue in the affirmative for the other. Seems reasonable.
Yeah, I would have liked to hear that person's hypothesis for that.
Hypothesis? No, we're not dealing with science here. Ontological primitives.
It's not a visual horizon, but it is visible.
We do have a geometric horizon. We don't have a geometric horizon. We do.
Did anybody say the hypothesis shoe one yet?
Now, Nathan, that one there is straight lying. There is the difference there.
Yeah, that's
a
Rumpus.
straight liar.
Rumpus is a straight liar, yes. I can prove that.
That was Rumpus. Okay. Gotcha. That was a lie, yes.
Yeah, I can prove that. I would say the same about...
Rumpus is a naughty little boy.
Maybe question whether or not I can prove it about Charles, because despite showing that he utilises R, Hamlin's razor does apply. I'm not going to apologise, though. Sorry, Charles. I'm being cast down when I called you a liar, and basically I've been having to put into a position where I Weasley concede that I was wrong and you're actually just retarded.
You called a retard a liar, Nathan. You should be ashamed.
Yeah, I called Charles the Thicko a liar, and he's not intelligent enough to be a liar. He's just stupid. My bad.
R.C. Meisty, which one do you want? Magnetic West or True West?
Magnetic Left?
West.
Which one do you want? Magnetic West or True West?
There's something magnetic about Magnetic West.
I prefer Magnetic Left. That's even better.
Just as absurd. Yeah. About Roofy.
Roofy. Oh, man.
How many times have I told you?
Definitions are fucking meaningless.
What else have we got for a numpty quote? Yeah, Brenda.
We can, we do, we must.
That's like a head numpty.
That's Michio Kaku. What?
Oh, and right off your lips, Kiwi.
No, that's not Michio Kaku.
How did it know to be
wait,
food?
that's right.
How did it know to be food? Bob the Science Guy, he's got an endless list of numpty quotes.
I thought that was Brenda.
How does it know to be food was a discussion between Brenda and Bob the Science Guy, where they're both talking past each other and not acknowledging that the conversation has descended into complete absurdium on both sides, but neither of them
You're
are paying
smarter
attention.
than me, Brenda. Sorry.
I'm getting my names all scrambled up.
Bob did say, you're smarter than I am, Brenda.
That's a low bar, though, you know? That's like...
The
I
best
can
part
change
of
my
that-
pants without leaving the pants
You
that
can
I'm
weigh
in.
the earth using a toothpick.
Dog bone is a clock, is it not?
Yeah, dog bones or clocks have to be right up there.
You can measure space-time with a table.
Yeah.
The hole in a donut is space-time.
A hole in a donut, nothing can surpass that.
Hypothesis, it's a shoe. Experiment, it's a shoe.
Oh, you wear it. You wear it.
You're just a complicated rock.
That's Michelle
That's
Thaler.
another head numpty. That's another head numpty. Thank you, Adam.
What was that, Adam?
Oh, I got one. Ether's been disproven.
That's Michelle. Is it?
Hazen Pfeffer.
Yeah.
Michelle Thaler.
No, that was Michelle Thaler.
Yeah, Michelle Thaler.
I'm gonna.
When one of the quotes comes from one of their priests, like George Musser or Dr. Michelle Thaler, that's a head numpty.
Let's have your as to what it is quote from NDT.
Somebody say, what's gravity?
What's gravity?
I have no idea. Next question.
That's not
honest,
better
at
than this
least.
one, Sean Little G. Is a rocket matter? to Sean Little G. I'm not sure if maybe someone on the panel can answer.
Is a rocket matter?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he didn't know when he passed the question on to somebody else. He's like, I don't know. I can't
I
answer
can
that.
even picture the scenario that's been asked in. So somebody's asked him about gas expanding into a vacuum, right? And can the matter that is the gas expand into an area of volume available to it, as per the second law of thermodynamics? And then somebody said, right, so the gas, according to you, it'll be Sean, doesn't expand into the vacuum, right? Is a rocket matter? Can the rocket go out into the vacuum? And he's gone, well, I don't know if a rocket's matter or not. Let me just ask the panel.
Yeah. They were talking about open and closed systems, from what I remember.
There you
Wait,
go.
who was the one? Who was the one that was laughing? And he said he only said it for 2.5 days, and then he realized what he said was wrong.
Oh, that's two people. That's
Sean Hawkins.
Sean Hawkins and Professor Bell.
Water vapor isn't gas.
That's Professor Phil Bell. That's correct.
Something with gas, right?
Yeah, they were
Hey,
denying.
Neil.
They were denying that water vapor was a gas, and telling us for saying it was a gas, we were stupid. They did that for 3 straight days with us. It's a bit like McToon or Ruhif is the current one, having a count, rattled off to him every time I repeat the exact same thing to him about his geometric horizon and how it's working out for him. Yeah. Or Toon or Cats or any of them that have 80, 100 repetitions of the same exact point. For them, verbally, on shows, not in comments, on shows, we were telling them for 3 straight days how stupid they were for telling us that we were stupid for asserting that water vapour was a gas. Apparently it's not, and we're stupid for saying it is. And they carried that on for 3 straight days. Unbelievable. This is a professor. I mean, Sean Hawkins is your average retard, that's fine. But Prof. Phil Bell, he was on the panel discussing it with them and laughing at us for calling water vapour gas. A professor!
That's correct. And they played the video over and over and were mocking us.
Maybe it was laughing gas.
No, water vapour. Water vapour, specifically.
No, you said they were laughing at it.
Yeah, laughing at us calling water vapour a gas.
We also had the claim of space plumb bobs for the Apollo moon mission. Use a plumb bob in space. Hence the research lab behind us now. But that was another one for using a sextant, and you could be in space and stick the horizon mirror on any part of the edge of the sphere globe you want, and then measure an angle off of that. That's another head numpty. That was NASA. That was their claim. Wow. And the baller came in and said, yeah, you could, because you could have a plumb bob.
Yeah, it was Zanuck.
It was Zanuck. There you
go. I got another one. Hurricanes 100% move in a straight line.
That's Kosho.
Yep.
Or Planar Walk, quote, nobody claims we'll see physical geometry, end quote. Physical geometry's Earth curve. According to Planar Walk, no one's claiming we'll see it.
Chocolate said one earlier, but didn't get the required response with the pants and the reference frame from Virus. Say it again, Chocolate.
I can change my pants without leaving the pants that I'm in.
Still think they're liars?
Well, this is the power of the internet. You see all these retards come out of hiding, get a channel name, maybe even a cool channel name, and then they gain an audience of other retards. And if you put them out into the assembly of the public, they couldn't survive, but they hide in the internet in these corners with these channel names.
I got one, Xanadu Bob. Yes, Nathan. Gas does go down and go boom, boom.
We're now verging into our own side's numpty quotes.
Yeah, well, who said he's on our side?
Gas is like pouring bouncy balls into a fish tank.
He didn't actually say that. He showed bouncy balls being poured into a fish tank, and said, "And boom," as he shows it.
But not verbal, but visual numptiness.
Yeah. Gas go down, go boom, boom, like bouncy balls poured into a fish tank isn't actually a quote.
No,
Didn't he claim
demonstrated how bouncy balls don't.
Just that's Thunderfoot for anybody who was wondering.
Full clown.
But Bob Nodell did say, and I quote, gas does go down, go boom, boom. He did state that.
Yes. So
That's what I said.
okay, so in paraphrasing my verbalization of a demonstration from Thunderfoot Clown, where he poured bouncy balls into a fish tank and claimed that that's analogous to gas behaviour, and boom, the gas goes down. Well, Bob Nodell did take that exact phraseology from me and paraphrase it in his own vernacular. In other words, he did state, yes, Nathan, gas does go down, go boom, boom, end quote. Bob Nodell. No, it doesn't, just in case anybody was wondering. Gas expands in all directions to fill the availability of volume it has to fill. That's why space is fake.
I heard one you guys used to say, like a shoe is a clock or something. A bone is a clock.
Whoa, you missed like 3 there altogether.
These are all Brenda's.
You got the shoe and the clock and the donut in the same phrase.
The shoe is a natural observed phenomenon. What's the hypothesis for the shoe? Well, the hypothesis for the shoe is it's a shoe.
Nobody's ever claimed the horizon was Earth curve. End quote. Tim Osman. Now look at my pictures.
Know that, Nathan, isn't it? Because at the same time of him saying that, he's got his years worth of pictures where he's demonstrating the horizon being Earth curve.
Well, it was multiple layers of imagery of horizons. So there's a stack of horizons all on top of each other in the image, and the title of that stack of horizons is "This is Earth Curve." So he's got that presented, Tim Osman, and he states nobody ever claimed the horizon was Earth curve. He said it in 3 different ways.
You know, when I listen back to that one, I almost want to say I don't even think he was lying. I really don't think. I think that he really did not understand that what he was claiming is the horizon. Like, I know he's a troll. I know he's been around for a while. I know he's one of the big trolls, or used to be, or whatever. But when you listen to that clip, it's really like he doesn't even know what he's saying, yet he's literally presenting the very thing he doesn't even understand.
Yeah. What's happening is we've debunked the horizon as Earth curve, and we demonstrate to him how. And he understands it. Now, up until that point, he'd been away for a while, which is reasonable. He had literally disappeared from the scene and come back. So it's like, do you understand the black swan? Actually, no. Well, here's how the black swan works. Do you understand? Yes, I do. But nobody's claiming the horizon is Earth curve, was his response. Why? Anti-flat earther is why. So you're showing there's no rotation and Coriolis effect. We wouldn't expect to see Coriolis effect. So you're showing the horizon isn't Earth curve. We wouldn't expect the horizon to be Earth curve. They're bracing against us as anti-flat earthers when they give that sort of rebuttal.
You guys keep going back to this and giving them too much intelligence, I think. Like, I thought we were through this. If they're just parroting points and hoping to contradict us, I don't think that they can actually understand the position they're trying to put forward.
Yeah, I agree. I can't not disagree. If 5, 6, 7 years of them telling us that the horizon's Earth curve, only for us to debunk it, and then for us to have the rebuttal be nobody thinks it is. You're like, what? Really? Have I got to now argue with you? This is where it's good that the most convoluted argument ended up going this way initially, which was Coriolis effect. We point out there's no drift. They then tell us that we wouldn't expect to see any. So you're left with two choices. Do I A, argue with my opponent about what he should be claiming but is now denying, or, which is hardly ever, or was hardly ever done, B, point out that essentially they've just conceded that the globe Earth claim doesn't happen. Not expecting to see drift. No, we, the flat earthers, wouldn't expect to see drift. But the globe claims there is one. No, Earth and atmosphere move together. So no drift as the globe's claiming. That's how the argument has evolved. But in this instance, there's no smegging way I'm going to be parroting back to them that they should be claiming that there's Earth curve. What's that you say? Nobody's claiming the horizon's Earth curve. No, you're right. No, we're not. And neither are you. Welcome to Flat Earth.
But the whole panel is pretty much agreed on this, right?
Hold on. We have a chat skanker, Extremesis. Here's what he says. I can't think of a single question that Globe Earth asked that Flat Earth does not have an answer for. Problem is that some of the answers contradict each other. We love your excruciating attention to detail, Extremesis. Of course, he fucking boot scooted immediately. Go on, sorry.
Of course he did. Yeah, so he's throwing it out there and then you've read it out and then he's skedaddled as immediately as he possibly could.
Yep.
That's how a baseless assertion works, though, right?
Yep.
You don't try to...
Yep, the very epitome of a baseless assertion.
Yeah, if you try to back it up, you destroy the baseless assertion. It only can hold validity in people's minds as long as you don't try to back it up.
Right, I can prove a globe Earth. How so? Stars. Gotta go, see you later, bye, out of here.
Take care. I got a couple good ones from back in the day. Gem Panda, my presupposition, the laws of logic stand. Can you tell everyone why you're laughing? I'll tell them. The laws of logic stand is a logical fallacy. It's reification. Logic doesn't stand. Here's a good one. See if you can guess who this one is. Back in the day. The speed of sound in a vacuum is constant.
I've also got a rebuttal to this. So that was put to... Oh, this was Steve McClown, wasn't it?
Yeah, you got it.
Right, Steve McClown put that. And I obviously parroted it back in a few comments. And one of the responses I got was, it's absolutely correct. It's a constant zero.
Yep.
Wow.
You don't have to be conscious to make an observation.
That
Oh, I don't know. Who's that? Who was that?
Holy shit.
Holy shit.
Was that Rumpus?
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you not have to be What is he on drugs?
I love Neil's delayed reaction.
Don't hurt your brain. Don't hurt your brain.
I got another one. You don't need to have a cause to establish a cause and effect relationship.
That sounds like Gem Panda.
Oh my God, that's worse than the other one.
Nah, Rumpus.
I mean, you could go on forever with Rumpus as well. Second law of thermodynamics does not apply to the Earth. End
Yeah,
quote.
we can go
Rumpus.
on for days.
I'm going to throw up if we keep on with them, though.
Oh, no, this is great. Oh, it's very light.
If you're new to this topic, if you're new to this show, these are the things the globe believers have actually told us in debate.
But it's also contextual. So it's not like we're just having an award ceremony for numpty quotes. The whole point of this discussion is because both myself and John have ascribed malice rather than stupidity. And the demonstrations are examples of stupidity. To make quantum erasers point that no, they're just stupid, make more sense. So this isn't just personal attacks or ad hominem, far from it.
Somebody's got to make a video. Hold on. Somebody's got to make a video through the years, have that song playing and play all these numpty clips.
Well,
I hate having to take that position, but we can't just keep calling them liars. It's obviously not true.
You know, I'd agree with that. I don't think every single one of them are liars. I think it's just when you get to a certain place, when you're defending this so-called globe model, you just get to a place where you have to start saying things that are nonsensical because that's what is required to even try to defend it. I mean, imagine the pain of having to defend something that's undefendable. Can't defend it, but you have to.
How about we call them stupid liars?
That wouldn't be true.
Someone explain
No,
hammer
they're
and razor
delusional.
to Neil.
Yeah, I will. Don't attribute to malice what can be explained by ignorance. It means
They
that
explain it.
sorry. It means that don't instantly think that somebody is malicious or lying or dishonest when it may just be purely ignorance.
Instantly? This has been going on for 7 years. What's this instantly? Are you kidding me?
It speaks to mens rea and whether they have the mental competency to actually be a liar. And I think all the quotes speak to that, and they don't.
Their ignorance betrays them, is the point, Neil.
I don't think so. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, yeah. When I'm the one being criticised for ascribing too much intelligence to them, to therefore label them a liar, I can't really argue the toss that you're right. But it's difficult for me to do so when we've just spent the last 40 minutes discussing this. Go on, just tell me they're liars, Neil. Just parrot it off. Come on.
I think they're a little bit of both. How about that?
But unless you actually manage to divine their motivation, which you're never going to do, or they just told you flat out. I mean, there's only a handful of examples where that's even come close to happening, one of which is Conspiracy Cats on his interview with Haunted House, where he puts it into the third person and describes his apprehensions and fears of what could be the case if it was true and we'd been lied to on a massive scale. You know, according to him, well, then everything would have to be a lie. You'd have to start assessing everything, according to his detailed description of a third party that he would be talking to in this scenario. Yeah? Well, I can read between the lines. There was no hypothetical third person. It came from his mind. Therefore, he conceptualized it and verbalized it. Now, that's not stupidity. That's him managing to separate his own anxieties into a third party that he's manifested through words. Doesn't mean that he hasn't manifested it. Doesn't mean that those aren't the words he's used or that those aren't the feelings that he can describe accurately. He did. So that's his pain. I know it, and he knows it. I've pointed it out plenty of times. But you give me another example like that. There aren't any. And if there are, they're very few and far between.
Can I throw a cat amongst the pigeons here?
Boom, boom.
The fact that they start citing themselves, that has to be a delusion of grandeur. Now, the point I'm making here with this is that if they can have a delusion of grandeur, and are willing to cite themselves, you know, with something like celestial navigation or physics of any kind, they do cite themselves. So that does show that they have an agenda. So
in this context, yeah. Hold on, just one second. I just want to agree with you and disagree with you. I will agree with you in this context, but there's nothing wrong with utilizing yourself as a citation if you're demonstrably correct. That's not a problem.
Yeah, but like I'm talking about them coming to us and making claims, and we ask them to cite the source of these claims to do with celestial navigation or something in physics, and they cite themselves.
Yeah, Roofy. So Adam's asking him about, or Rufy's challenging Adam based on Cruising World's publication of a detailed experienced navigator's description of celestial navigation. And in response to Rufy's claim that that's wrong, a cited source, he comes up with his own citation. There we go, with Rufy on the title.
Yeah,
yeah, but Village Idiot.
For example, Zanuck, he lied, but it takes a certain it takes a nicely calculated, well placed array of questions in order to determine that someone's lying. But only then can you say, okay, well, I know you're lying now.
Yeah, exactly. Like when Zanuck, the last time Zanuck was on here, he started asking me a question and then answering as I was trying to answer. Like that's not somebody who doesn't know anything. You know, if someone can use those kind of tactics. Yeah, but if someone can use those kind of tactics, it means that they are capable of lying.
Yeah, because if you have an actual argument, you don't need a tactic.
Well, hold on. Yeah.
Well, check this out. If you're a pathological liar, you believe your lies. Under that definition, they're not a liar then, right, John?
No, hold on a sec. Because just because you're capable of telling a lie doesn't prove that when you say something stupid, that's a lie.
Yeah, but you see, the problem is that if you're trying to defend the indefensible or the undefensible, whichever is the correct term, then you're going to have to lie, right? Or say stupid things. Both of those things are going to happen, whether you intentionally want to or not. But if you are okay with lying, and you lie, then you intended to lie.
It's like one of those things. Like when I realized they really had no argument for, let's just take for instance axial rotation, when they used to argue with us about Coriolis all the time, and Coriolis was stated as something that we should see, and they would tell us how we would see it, until it got to a certain point in the argument where all of a sudden now one or two of them are now saying, oh, but you wouldn't expect to see that, and they would argue that. That's where the nonsense about the atmosphere rotating with the Earth, lockstep, that's where that nonsense came from. And we were like, hold up, how do you have that and have Coriolis at the same time? And that's when I realized, wow, they do understand that in reality, you don't see this thing. Now they have to completely switch up the argument. That's a lie. That's not them not understanding it. They just lie because they know we can't see it, because I just sit outside and see it all the time. But now that they know that we can't, huh?
How do you know that they understood the argument to begin with?
No, it's their claim. It's their claim, and then it's their contradiction to their claim. It's like, why that?
I mean, that might be true. They might not have understood the argument from the get-go, but there's a certain point. Yeah, I know, but I'm saying there's a certain point where their own argument changes from something we're supposed to see, like everything else, like the geometric horizon, Coriolis effect, all these things that we're supposed to see and supposed to be measured, all of a sudden we can't see and don't even expect to see. That's a straight lie.
No, that's just they don't understand the claim.
But if the same person told us that we should see the thing, and we do it, and then after I don't know, months and years of argument, now we don't expect it. Well, that person just switched their argument. So either they, I don't know, up their understanding to a shit level, or they're lying.
No, that's false dichotomy, because they could have not understood the claim when they made it. And then anything that they say after that is just their own stupidity bleeding through.
Yeah, but hang on. There's a subtlety here that's not being addressed. We keep using the word words lie and lawyer, right? Lying, all these words. We should be using the word dishonesty, because there's two ways to be dishonest. I remember an uncle of mine detailing it very clearly. You can either straight out lie or you can conceal the truth. Now, do they do more concealment of truth than lying?
That depends on the argument, I think.
Nah, they do more concealment of truth. That's the whole point. AI said something about they ridicule us to hide the actual ridicule that the globe should be getting. That's definitely true, 1000%.
Chocolate, if they're on the debate show debating a particular subject and they change their position, as you've noted, what would you call that, since it's not done in secret? It's done on a debate show. Everyone knows what's at stake. And they've held one position. Now they hold another position. When you call them out on it, and they run away, what is that called?
Pride. I don't think it's a lie.
No, I think it's a little bit of everything. I think they have to lie because of pride.
What they have to do.
Well, if the changing of position comes without a concession, then that's probably a lie. Yeah, I would say that, because if in one moment you're asserting, yes, we can see the Coriolis effect, this is something that's apparent, sure, and then after months of arguing, now the same person is saying, well, no, we don't expect to see this. Well, if it didn't come with the concession of, well, we don't expect to see it because it's not happening, well, then that's a lie to me.
Yeah, well, let me just throw this out there. Well, how I view it at this stage is it's a mixture of two things working simultaneously. It's collective, I won't say lying, but it's collective dishonesty mixed in with collective delusion, mixed in with collective ignorance. Because what they do is someone like Rumpus, who's at the top of their food chain, because they don't get to talk to Brian Cox, right? Someone like Rumpus makes a statement or makes an argument against one of our arguments, and all the other idiots parrot it, right? And that's what goes on. And if Rumpus has to change his position, they collectively change as well. It's like a hive type thing. They collectively change as well. So they'll collectively be dishonest and collectively be ignorant simultaneously. That's how I view them.
Well, what's the difference of being prideful, not wanting to admit you're wrong, and lying?
How can we all have conceded this point when me and John debated it back and forth so eloquently?
I know.
But now we're going to still argue it.
Yeah, well, repetition.
The thing about it is that famous, I don't know if I call it a statement, but it's a saying, the truth will set you free. That is not true, right? This is a bit of a contradiction. That is not true for ballers. The truth will not set them free. The truth will cause them to hide in their house. It will cause them to go into the dark reaches of Discord and hang out.
It could set them free, though.
It will,
that's a misrepresentation.
Hang on. It will cause them to maybe even go into psychiatric units. It won't set them free.
No, it would have if they allowed it to, but they won't. That's why they're in the psychiatric unit.
But I think that's when it comes back to the collective, right? Because at the end of the day, they all can sleep better because they have a consensus, right? The entire world agrees with what I'm saying. So of course these flat earthers don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Why wouldn't everyone who's been set up to be duped under this delusion all be susceptible? Like that, people don't understand. Well, if you knew the history of where your belief came from, and you understood their reach, and you understood their influence even today, then you could understand why everyone is deluded, seeing as that everyone goes through that same system. I don't understand what's so hard to understand about that.
Well, John is our perfect example. John, let me put a question to you directly. In Black Swan 2020, the truth of that sets you free of the ball and now you're here on this panel. You've got one of the strongest arguments out there with the celestial sphere and elevation angles. And now you're taking it to them, but no one even wants to come and talk to you thus far. So
I forgot to tell him.
Did the truth set you free then, John, because you applied it?
I don't even know what freedom. I don't believe in a sphere anymore. If you mean that, yeah.
Yes, that's what I mean. So prior to the black swan, you did, and the truth of the black swan and the geometric horizon not being geometric and past its limitation, that got you to say, you know what, I don't live on a sphere. So that truth set you free of the sphere, did it not?
Yeah.
Okay.
And why was that, John? What did you think they had before the black swan, John?
Measurement.
Yeah, measurement.
Yeah.
Measurement, and you can only take measurements of what is, you know.
Mm-hmm. And now the supposed what is that supposedly measured, now we're told, back to the other argument, oh, we wouldn't expect to see this thing that you thought that there was a measurement for.
Because why would we think that other than the fact that you told us that directly?
Exactly.
Well done, Tent. I got your point.
I was going to say something. I can't remember.
Any Globers in here want to tell us why we're wrong?
No,
I
just
think that's
retards.
it now.
Just retards, chocolate, no globers.
Oh, right.
I
So
have
number one, I have a major success in my line of questioning, but I have to get it way more concise and way less wooey for those who would walk in on the conversation without understanding where I'm coming from. But that aside, John, I did have a conversation at Jim's, and they did mention you and say that you were going around saying that you would have a debate and that you would use any model that they chose. So they extended an invitation to their abode.
When do they want me there?
Hang on, John.
Whenever, I guess.
Hang on. They extended an invitation for John to go in there, right, where there's 20 or 30 of them, and they make
Yeah,
a
but
point of making sure.
John said doesn't matter where.
Yeah, but a debate is one-on-one, Neil.
So he can request a one-on-one.
Yeah, that's fine. When do they?
I'm sure Kosho is a good moderator in that sense. I can't even take that from him.
Kosho moderating? He can't even tie his own fucking shoes.
But he does know how to mute up everybody.
Yeah, he
over
doesn't know. He does. Key to chocolate. Chocolate, go ahead.
What?
Yeah.
Hurricanes?
Who's talking before? Think the claim was that Kosho knew something, how to do something?
Oh yeah, okay, that was me, Eli.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah. You may want to take that back.
I've seen
Eli
do what I think is required for this situation.
Eli did limit it to pushing a mute button.
Hello. Can we just let Eli defend his nonsense?
I've seen him do the thing that I'm saying he could do,
which is push a mute button.
That's deep.
Well, it's a debate, and that's the purpose for him to push the mute button to make sure that there's only a one-on-one. I'm sorry, it's not as deep as it could be.
Well, I accept.
Don't apologize.
Hold on.
He's a dumbass cracker from way back. Remember I was talking about the retards? But you're giving people too much credit because you think they have this sort of baseline knowledge like I was talking about before. But this is scary retardville, right? You want some more evidence?
Yeah, I'm not going in. I'm not going to have
No, I know he's retarded. I know that. But I've seen, because you know how you have the people that are disabled, but you can't like stop them from, you can't discriminate against them, so they work and they're able to pass you the bag, and when you come in, and they're able to say hello. You know, he's functioning.
I want some more numpty clips.
Hold on, before we skip by this, I just want to point out, it's not really going to be a debate. It's not debatable. It's
correct.
You either require a flat plane, or you're going to violate the celestial sphere model. That's the only two things you can do to assert a globe. It's delusion. So I'm going there to point out delusion.
Are you going to go in there? If you go in there, can you tape it for everyone else, please?
Yeah.
What makes you think they're going to understand you? I'll throw your question back at you, like you do to us.
What do you mean? It doesn't matter if they understand. It's not about.
What if they don't understand it? What if they're not comprehending it? Like you defend them all the time.
Well, yeah, they're not going to understand it more than likely, but they're stuck. This is not a point you can get past.
Who's running?
Is that Eli?
Like, the whole point of it is to go in there and say, you know, you're going to have to assert delusion. You can't.
To be honest, it's even better if they don't understand, because then that's an illustration of them not understanding what they're asserting. That's terrible.
No, they can't understand it, whether they want to or not. Well, no, what I mean is that even if they could, they can't, if they want to keep on believing in a globe. They can't.
Correct. If they understand it, they relinquish their belief in a ball. You hit it right on the head.
That's right, Neil.
But this isn't really about them understanding. It's just, you know, there's a fact in play. There's a positive claim behind it that's factual. And to assert anything outside of that is delusional. And that's all I'm going to do. I don't really care if they understand or not.
Tell you what, you better get a wire brush. I'll tell you what, you better get a wire brush and some soap. You're going to need it after you go in there.
Last time I was in there, I got muted after, I'd say about 2 minutes. So
you lasted longer than me.
Do you remember what for?
He said that there was no certainty. We was talking about science, and he finally got to the point where he had to say that certainty didn't exist.
And he's certain of it, right?
Yes, he is
certain of that statement?
Yeah.
Exactly. Was he certain of that statement? Fucking clown.
Yeah, that's exactly, John. That's all I said back to him. I got muted for it.
The prosecution rests again, by the way.
Kiwi's winning this, lads.
Come on, Kiwi. You got to do lethal weapon. You lose.
I just want to point out to you, Neil, that I'm defending retards, and you're trying to call retards liars.
I got it.
These people are more like babies that are coddled, you know. Like they've never been asked a question that was hard. They've been allowed to believe what they've believed. Remember that flat earth boxer clip with the guy named Young Moses, and he's asking the cosmologist, how do you have gas pressure adjacent to vacuum? And he's like, gotta go. It's like,
he at some point did say the shoe hasn't got enough gravity. Now, I appreciate that he was being asked about a shoe box in a vacuum that you poke a hole in and the gas expands to fill the volume. But in his literal response, he did say the shoe has not got enough gravity.
Oh my God! The flat earth boxer said, "No, but the Earth."
Right.
That's what we're talking about. The shoebox on the ground on the Earth.
Yeah, he didn't catch that part. Prosecution rests again, by the way.
You lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to throw something out there. I know something that Bev tried thinking brought up with them some time back, and he made a point that they're bigots, and it's true. If you don't go along with what they say is fact, like if you're a flat earther, right? If you're a flat earther, they are bigoted against you. That they have these delusions of grandeur, and the fact that you're a flat earther means they instantly believe that they are, number one, more intelligent, number two, more educated, and number three, wiser than you. And they start trying to educate you on things that only 3 months previous you were educating them on. They do this. And even just today in my comments, I have a tide of people trying to educate me about globers, trying to educate me about angular size change and perspective. Something that is not part of their model.
Yes, thank you for that. That provided a good, solid 25 minutes of entertainment for me this morning. Responding to those comments. It was really good fun.
Just for what John said about taping it, though, I don't have the means to tape on Discord right now. So if anybody would like to tape it for John,
it's live.
It's on YouTube.
Live.
It'll be live. Awesome.
Yeah. No, they have a YouTube live 24/7. It just this is what has been explained to me. They have a live. It's always live, but after a certain amount of time, that live is gone forever if you don't save it. So I don't know, but you can save it because it's live.
That's smart for them.
Well, you got to have the link. So one of the conditions, John, when you go in there, is you got to have the link where it is live.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll post it in Master B.
Awesome.
Yep.
So who are you actually going up against? Kosho's moderating. I got that bit.
Well, I suggested that it be Kosho. But
so he's the moderator, and you want Kosho to debate him.
As soon as I said it, I said, "Oh God."
The prosecution
I really don't
rests
think it
again,
matters.
Unfortunately, on our side.
I really don't think it matters if that was the case. You know, going just you and Kosho, even with all the obfuscation and fundy muting that you might get from him, I don't think it matters. I don't think you've got any issues at all, John. I have no concerns.
Yeah, I could debate Kosho as the moderator and still win this. I'm not going in there. Like I said, it's like they're saying that a rock's not a rock. Well, what? Is that a debate? No, that's not a debate. That's not a debatable issue. So they're wanting to turn it into a debate. I'm not doing that.
Well, at least you're right around the material that you're going to be bombarded with. So that's right around the intellectual level. So at least you're prepared for that. A rock is not a rock. You're right in the lane.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's well prepared for the nonsense he's going to have to deal with. Triangles, no such thing.
What's a straight line?
No such thing either. Straight line, no such thing.
Can I just state that Kosho believes he's a Jewish black man from Texas? So, if you are up against Kosho, just remember that.
Who is also homosexual.
Oh, I can totally relate.
That doesn't matter.
You're like, what?
I'm just saying what he says. You got to quote. He's a Jewish black man who's homosexual. So more power to.
Yeah, well, even if he was a Jewish black guy that was a homosexual, if he's asserting that a rock is not a rock, who's going to take him serious?
As a proud black Jewish Muslim woman, I'm standing with you, Kosho, on that score.
But you see, that's the problem with these group of people. It's like when you see those documentaries of plastic swirling at certain locations on bodies of water, it just seems to with the current and everything, all the plastic, all the junk is there. That reminds me of these guys. So all the people there know that Iraq is not Iraq.
I just got to point out the best part of this is when they reveal their model. That's when the hilarity will ensue. That's probably going to be the embarrassing part for them.
The question is whether or not you can lead them to the explanation that you will give without them just completely talking over you so they don't have to hear it. I suppose it's only two sentences. No. It's not going to be that hard.
Right. Yeah. What model are they going to bring out that's not going to utilize a flat plane?
None of them. All of them will utilize a flat plane without exception.
So, you know, they're going to have to pick a model. They agreed to these terms.
Trust and believe. They know where you're coming from. They all have tactics ready for you.
They're going to have to pick their destruction? Interesting.
No, they're just going to pick a model, and whatever they pick, it's going to be derived from a flat plane in the first instance. So it really matters not which model you use.
Yeah, whatever they pick, they're going to get destroyed. Because you need a flat plane.
Yeah, that's why I said, you know, they can pick the models. They can even pick mine. It's because they're going to pick one of mine and put it up against one of mine. So what's it matter?
This should be really interesting to see. Very simple.
I'm in.
Did you all know that babies also cannot walk for 12 to 18 months due to adjusting to the spin of the earth? That's why we throw up and can't walk until about 14 months.
Oh, who said that? Come on.
That's never a quote.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Oh, my God.
Who
I
said
have the
that?
screenshot. That was actually
Dr. John
addressed
Wallace.
to me.
Dr. John Wallace? A doctor? Doctor of what?
Medical doctor.
Who knows?
So a medical doctor. Was he an ear, nose, and throat specialist?
I don't think so. I'd have to go back and
I
check.
doubt it.
Well, that's for sure an earful.
So wait a second. So horses and cows, they can come out and walk immediately?
Sheep. Yep. Any animal that gets out of the womb and immediately starts walking would violate that argument, yes. It's absurd.
Holy shit, you stupid.
Well, what it infers is that your inner ear...
is that he addressed that to me in a chat. I have a screenshot of that. That's why we know it.
Oh, please get it, please.
Yeah, pop it Master B.
Oh,
Might
I
as well
got
have it on
that.
screen as we round out this show. That's
Copy
to
that.
say that the spin of the Earth does induce a disorientation in your inner ear. Therefore, that disorientation, which is permanent and constant, has to be adjusted for by children. And eventually you get to the point in your life where you're just used to the constant motion in your inner ear that's used to keep you stable, moving constantly. It's just so far removed from anything logical or sensible, and yet said by a doctor. Unbelievable.
Because they're in that school, telling you.
Nathan.
Yeah.
Prosecution rests.
Yeah, I conceded this about an hour and a half ago. I'm still not apologising to Charles.
Can I just say that the ballers argue against that point and say that the vestibular, is it the vestibular system? I don't know the correct terms.
Vestibular apparatus.
Vestibular apparatus in the inner ear, that we wouldn't feel a rotation. I've heard them argue that they had some evidence that we wouldn't feel that rotation.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he's
they don't
arguing
have any.
not only do you feel it, it's constant, and you have to adapt to it over the first 18 months of life.
Nathan, the two quotes are in Master B.
Oh, perfect. Let's just stick these up on screen. Dr. John Wallace at Chocolate saying, Babies also cannot walk for 12 to 18 months due to adjusting to spin of Earth. That's why we throw up and can't talk until 14 months. Chocolate saying, Dr. John Wallace. The womb
Hold up. So
is a
it's
zero.
motion.
Sorry.
I just wanted to respond to the first one. It's not just walking. Yeah, that's why babies are sick all the time, because of motion sickness.
Yep, that's what he said.
Even more.
That makes it even worse. Second quote, Dr. John Wallace at Chocolate saying, the womb is zero gravity, like outer space. That's why we throw up and can't walk when we come out for about 12 months.
That's a doctor? Oh, shit, I make sure I don't go to him.
Prosecution rest.
Yeah.
It's astronaut training, right? In water. Get it?
Yeah, basically in utero, we're all training to be astronauts, are we, right?
Yep.
No.
But if you believe a flat plane can be a sphere, I mean, that's not the dumbest thing you can say after that, you know?
This is true.
And this is a guy that believes in gravity, but he's saying that somehow the womb generates an anti-gravity field.
Yes. The uneven distribution of mass, warping and bending space-time does not apply in the womb, Adam. Obviously, that's what the doctor said.
No, but see, that's the magic trick that hides what's more ridiculous, which is what Nathan detailed. The fact that you have this liquid in your ear that's just in constant distress, and somehow you get used to this thing that's actually supposed to be a stabilizer for you. That's insane.
But with that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, hitting the PayPal link and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!